Welcome one and welcome all. It is day 2 of the Wisconsin State Fair, and we are glad that you are with us. I love the fair. Got up today and came in as I was walking through. And I got here really early. I got here about just before 7 a.m. Well, maybe a little bit after, actually. And as I'm walking through today, the giant dog on a stick, the giant corn dog guy was there. And I said, hey, how you doing? And it's like I see all these people every year. And he said, have you had one yet? And I said, no. And so he said, I'll get you one. And then sure enough, came over about 20 minutes ago and dropped off a 1-foot dog on a stick, corn dog on a stick. Nice way to start the Friday. Today, the last hour of the show is all Mike Clemens all the time, live up at Lambeau. And you've got family night tonight. A lot of people in anticipation of all of that. So that's something to look forward to. Then on the opposite side of the spectrum, you've got the Milwaukee Brewers that return home. And the Brewers, the trade so far, the early returns suck. Let's be honest. The early returns stink. They're terrible. The contributing factors have been less than admirable. You've missed in the back end of the bullpen Josh Hader already. They have gotten hits. Woodruff gave up 3 yesterday. I don't know. There is something to be said when you lose somebody and a feeling in your clubhouse that you cannot just say it's here. You can't manufacture it. It has to become real all over again. In doing so, the Brewers have not been able to make up for that loss of Hader. What he means to people in that club, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I don't know what it all feels and means and such. But you can there's a deflation. I don't even know how else to put it. Then again, winning cures all of that. Brewers need to get some wins. Brewers get a couple of wins. Things start to trend in the right direction. Okay, not a bad way to go. But right now, man, it sucks. It just sucks. I don't know how else to put it. Brewers face a terrible Pittsburgh Pirates team after starting off so promising the unofficial second half of the season, and since then have just completely and utterly crapped the bed. Since the trade, they've not won a game. Brewers right now. Oh, by the way, did you see? The Brewers have lost 4 straight. The Cardinals have won 4 straight. And, yeah, there you go. That quick. In a blink of an eye, bam! Cardinals right back tied with the Brewers for the top spot in the National League Central. And I'll tell you this. If the Brewers don't win the division, they're not going to the postseason. They're not going to the postseason. And I know Ben said it yesterday that he called his shot and said the Brewers are out. Brewers are done. He said, I know it's premature, and it is, as we sit here on August 5th with a lot of baseball yet to be played. But he said, look, it just looks bad. The optics are bad. I agree with you. I'm not saying they're done, but I agree with you. The optics are bad. Welcome to all of you on the Bud Light live stream. Glad to have you on board. Derek says the players appear to be really weak. Steve says heading out to the fair soon. Steve, come on by the Goose Island Ale House. I'll see you. You've also got our buddy Chris says maybe they should take some of that stuff Rogers took to put a little pep in their stuff. A little psychedelic. Some of that happy tea. So he can become a better player, better friend, better lover is what he said, which I was listening to that again this morning coming in early. Boy, people are having fun with it. Like I said, I don't care if Aaron Rodgers tattoos his head, shaves his hair, decides to have his butt cheeks pierced. As long as he plays football really well, I don't care. He's not doing anything illegal. He can, and the league itself, because there was a couple of players I was listening to yesterday on NFL Live that said, well, they're going to wonder if this is going to be something that the league's going to have to look into. Is there some kind of a drug that is deemed illegal in a sense to where the league might have to step in. No, the league's taking a hands-off approach. Look, he gets tested like everybody else. It's not like he's out there, dropping LSD, for God's sakes. He's drinking some tea. He's drinking some wacky tea. He's good with that. Gary says my new favorite pastime is running straight to Twitter after watching the Brewers blow a game on a wild pitch. Right? It's awful. I don't. The Brewers right now, since the trade, you have optimism as a Brewers fan. I think we all do. You have optimism, right? So you have optimism, and you think, okay, today's the day. They get a win. You start to breathe a little. Right now, everything's tight. You've got new guys in the clubhouse. You've got a little bit of a deflation after losing a guy that you really liked. You felt like you had your mojo in order, and this team was hitting the hell out of the baseball. And some of the clutch hits, while they're getting them, it's not like they're not scoring runs. The pitching has kind of failed them, to be honest with you. But it just isn't. It's kind of like right now you're watching Brewers baseball as you got your hands over your eyes and you're looking through your fingers because you don't want to see it. You don't want to see it. Right? OJB says, cannot believe that the Brewers got swept by the Pirates. I can't either. I can't either. There's always one team that gets you. And for a long time, the Brewers were the team that was getting the Pirates. Since then, the tables have turned. And for whatever reason, the Pirates have had some success here in recent history against the Brewers. And just when you think that the Brewers have got distance between them and the Cardinals, here come the Pirates, here come the Reds. You got this lackluster portion of your schedule, and all of a sudden, boom. You lose games to a team you have no business losing to. And the old adage is you're only as good as the next day's starting pitching. Well, the starting pitching hasn't necessarily been that bad. But the bullpen that you supposedly bolstered, going for it to give yourself more and more and more and more bites at the apple, sucks. It's not getting the job done. Not in key situations, it's not. Jeff says, "Hey, at least you're not a Twins fan. What a dumpster fire here in the Twin Cities area. Twins pitching is absolutely terrible." Gary, you're right. The Brewers are scoring run. Pre-Hader trade, there's no way they thought they'd lose 3 straight to the Pirates. I agree with. I never thought they'd lose 3 straight to the Pirates. Sean says the Brewers are playing so bad right now, I think my local Little League team could beat them. There's a shot. Kick to the surplexes right there, right? If you want to hit us up, it's 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You can find us there. We got our buddy Connor Jacobson producing the program today. Ben Kenny out at the Zone golf outing, where from what I understand, not only are they now hitting them, but they're hitting the bar as hard as they are the rest of the golf course. Ben is in his glory. Doing a little imbibing and playing some golf. So we'll find out come next Monday how that score golf outing went. Because I would assume Ebo is going to be posting some pictures. We'll find out. But nevertheless, Ben is enjoying his day today. Mark says the Brewers are just an awful team to watch right now. I love the offense picking it up, but the pitching, which we depend on so much, is now faltering, and it's sad. Connor says they couldn't leave well enough alone. They always have to tinker with money. It's always about the money with the Milwaukee Brewers. Mark Attanasio needs to sell the team. Again, I can go through this till I'm blue in the face. It is not. If you were an owner of a Major League Baseball team, how much money are you willing to lose? I think that's a really good question. Say you're worth, I don't know. Say you're worth $800 million and you own a baseball team. Okay? Now keep in mind that the value of the franchise may be $1.5 billion. But unless you sell it and put that in your account, you don't have that money. You're worth $800 million. Okay? So you tell me as an owner how much money you're willing to lose. Because that's what you have to ask yourself. Because there's only so much money coming in, right? And you don't play to break even. You got to make money because you got to continue to build and kind of continue to do other things, not only with the stadium, but you've got that new sports complex down there in Phoenix to pay for and all the renovations, the upgrades within American Family Field. You've got to pay for those as well. There's certain things that you do have to fund as a baseball owner. So I'm not saying it's just personnel. You got to pay all your people, okay? So, but the question is then, how much are you willing to lose? Right? How much are you willing to lose? Because that's the question. I don't know what the total is going to be at the end of the season. I don't know when they do the breakdown as to what the Brewers make monetarily. Is it $30 million, $50 million, $100 million? But you're not going to be willing to lose $100 million. Are you willing to lose 3? Are you willing to lose 5? Are you willing to lose 20? That's what you kind of got to ask yourself. Because if you're going to go for it, and put all your chips to the middle of the table and you're going to go out and pay people and such, how much are you willing to go out and get now? How much are you willing to tie up for years to come budgetarily to kind of hamstring your team down the road? Or do you just – because you can't just keep dumping your farm system. You got to be – for a small market team to survive, you got to build through it. Because otherwise, a couple of bad contracts and you're screwed for a long period of time. So how much are you willing to lose? 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to hit us up, feel free to go ahead and do so. Because I think it's a fair question. You know? Sean says in some cases they can write off the losses on their taxes. On YouTube talks about many of the NHL owners are notorious for that. I have no idea. I don't know. Sean, there has to be a number. When you talk about losses on their taxes, yes, every business owner has positive and negative gains. That I completely agree with. Some of the loss via your franchise you can write off. Absolutely. Some of it upgrade wise you can write off. I'm sure, but we don't know what the number is. You know. Kyle says, I'm at peace with the fact that the Brewers just simply can't pay some of their players. But there is something just fundamentally wrong with trading away your best arm when you still had him through the next year and you're in first place. That move makes me just wonder and say, what the hell, Brewers? The biggest issue that what I see, okay, if Josh Hader was under control for another year, if Josh Hader goes to arbitration, which everybody believes he was going to, he was going to get an additional anywhere from $5 to $7 million coming up next year. Is that the reason you got rid of him? Because you didn't want to pay, say, $16, $17, $18 million to a closer? You know what I mean? Is that the reason you got rid of him? For the extra $5 million? Because on paper it looks bad to pay a closer that much money? That to me, while the totality of it I understand, but the extra $3 to $5, $7, $8 million, that to me makes me mad. Because it was a salary dump. The whole Lamet thing changes the outlook of the result of that trade. It just does. It just makes the optics look extremely bad. Extremely bad. Complicated fellow says franchise worth subtract owner worth. That could be the amount to lose. He can recoup it if he sells. Not a formula for every year, just like you think you're close to this year. Yeah, but if the owner's worth $800 million and your franchise is worth 1.15 or 1.5, we'll say, that's an $800 million or $700 million difference. And you're not going to lose that in a year. You're not going to go lose that amount of money. And that's just it. You're only going to recoup it if you sell. If you sell the team. No owner's ever going to run at a deficit like that and then say, oh, by the way, I got to sell the team to break even. Nobody's going to do that. No businessman will ever, no businesswoman will ever do that. That's not the way it's run. I do believe, though, that you at some point, you know what? Maybe it's better if you hear from Mark Antanasio. At some point, Mark Antanasio would like to see him in front of a microphone and say, this was our thought, that we really wanted to go for it. Things weren't matriculating the way we thought. It wasn't kind of enrolling things down the road. We thought the pitching would be great. Therefore, we thought then that would then enroll better hitting because of the guys we brought in. You would then see all of this begin to come together. Christian Yelich would begin to hit. It would become contagious. And then we'd make one small move or two, and then everything would just start falling into place. Never did. And if he then comes to you and says, it didn't happen, we just don't have the confidence in this team beating the Dodgers or beating the Mets or beating the Padres. We don't have that belief. And if we don't have that belief, then we're throwing good money after bad. So now's the time to make the move. And if he's honest about it, like him and when they started the trades with Doug Melvin years ago, and then that ended up kind of transferring over to David Stearns, and they sat down in front of a microphone and said, hey, this is what we're doing. Here's our plan. So we can't win it this year, but what we're going to do is start building for the next couple of years. And damned if they didn't. And things really happened. And they got back into the postseason. They've been consistent for 4 years. If they say, you know what, it's not working out. It's not working. Things aren't working out. We made a couple of deals we thought would work. The players haven't lived up to the expectation, haven't lived up to the contract. We've only got a budget of this. This is where we're at. Hang in there with us. I think we can accept the honesty, but to say we're always trying to get, and I get it. David Stearns can't come before a microphone and say, you know what, we're tearing it down and we think this is going to be better, but really it's not going to be any better. I get it. He's got to do what he's got to do. But if you kind of come forth and you're open and honest about what your methodology is, I think a lot of people appreciate that. You get more respect for that. But where they're at right now was, hey, we're doing everything we can to get a couple more bites at the apple. What? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Bites of what apple? What apple? The postseason? So anyway, that's just where I'm at right now. Let's do this. We're going to step away. We're going to take a quick break. We are broadcasting live at the Wisconsin State Fair, having a great time here. We certainly appreciate it. For everybody that's got us, came over and said hello so far and such. So it's been good. We got more coming up right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket, this is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
I give that a 2.99.
Okay. Hey, Dad.
What's wrong?
That woman over there. Don't look.
What did she do?
She judged my dive. Gave it a 2.99. Isn't that weird?
Hey, that's Gina Della from Pella. I'm going to find out what this is all about. Excuse me. Why are you judging my daughter's diving? I know who you are.
I'm sorry? Judging?
Yeah, she said you yelled out.
Oh, no, I wasn't talking about her. I was finalizing this month's special at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. That's funny.
What's special?
Pay only 2.99% interest for 10 years.
On new Pella windows. Really? 10 years?
Yep.
But it's the middle of summer. You can't get a deal on installing new windows during the warmest season.
You can at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Oh, 2.99.
Dad?
Oh, not you, sweetheart. The deal at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. 2.99% for 10 years.
Visit PellaWI.com.
Approved credit.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program, the Bill Michaels Show, coming to you live. We are inside the Budweiser Pavilion today here at the Wisconsin State Fair Park. Goose Island Ale House. They have a special tapping coming up today at 3 o'clock, and they have great reviews, by the way. They were a Sporky finalist, and there's a website called Milwaukee Foodie, and they go out and rate all kinds of stuff, and they said that this is, I think the Budweiser Pavilion got jobbed. They might have got jobbed on the actual trophy for the Sporkies because they gave that the best rating. So Milwaukee Foodie saying that the Bud Pavilion scored high, was, quote, great. Couldn't get any better. There was other ones that were Sporky finalists. I said, they're okay, but no. But you come here, you get that flaming hot Cheeto chicken thing on a steak. Fantastic stuff. And then you wash it down with some Bud Light, brought to you by our good friends at Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the Bill Michaels Sports Talk Network. As always, you got more music today. Great lineup, as a matter of fact, all over the Wisconsin State Fair Park today. A lot of good stuff today. Big bands coming up today as well. You got Whiskey Throttle at the Big Sky Bar. The Toys tonight. Is it the Toys tonight? It's not the Toys tonight, is it? The Toys tonight? No. I'm sorry. Tonight you got Bella Kane. Almighty Vinyl starts at 3:30. Then Bella Kane. You got the Rhythm Method over at the Sports Bar. You got Breaking Cadence at Pistol Pete's, which they're really good too. You got Smart Mouth, Knucklehead tonight. So they're playing there. The Metal Men at the Charcoal Grill. So that's happening. There's a lot of good bands. Johnny Wad playing at Tavern tonight. Slim McGinn's got Pub Quiz going on if you want to just take a load off for a little while and enjoy that. And there's the playlist and such over at the Camp Bar. And Miles Wangren, by the way, playing at the Camp Bar today at 1 o'clock. Camp Bar is new. And they did a fantastic – that's the old Rupinas over here at the State Fair Park. And, boy, they did a fantastic job in renovating that. I was over there earlier this morning and saw those guys. Kudos to the Camp Bar. They did a great job here at the Wisconsin State Fair. Anyway, hanging out, talking some Brewers baseball, and got this one from Jacob who says, they have let me down once again. They got a false sense of security starting out the second half of the season, and it just hasn't gone their way. I'm not totally disappointed, but I am disappointed. There you go. Thank you very much. This one's from Victor. Or no, excuse me, Hector. I'm sorry, Hector. Hector says, just the same old Brewers. Every year we're going to have a little bit of hope. Every year we're going to be let down. Get used to it. I guess this is like the old adage of doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Kind of. I understand that. At least, look, that's the way people feel today. They go on a run where all of a sudden they win 4, 5, 6 in a row. You're probably going to feel a little bit different. You're going to have your optimism back, and rightfully so. It sucks. It sucks in twofold. Here's the reason why. It sucks because they traded Josh. It sucks because they haven't won since, and it sucks because not only you haven't won since, but you've lost 3 straight to a bad team. That's why it sucks. Dennis says, Almighty Vinyl rocks hard. They do. Bookhound, morning. What up? Also, Marv says, the worst thing for the Brewers was to come out hot and go 7-2 after the All-Star game and before the trade deadline. That gave ownership and management the false sense of security where they could say, see, our offense just needed a little bit of time and our pitching has been stellar all season. We really don't need to do anything. We're fine. Gotcha. You're right. You all right. And then this one, since the Brewers do money ball for players, how much money is a starting pitcher game worth? $500,000 per game for the Brewers. How high will he go to pay Burns? He starts 25 games. Pay him how much? And then Brendan says, if they lose to the Reds, they better buy everybody in Wisconsin some hamburgers or brats. And then Rick says, I'm so glad the NFL season right around the corner because Brewers baseball is frustrating. That I agree. Had football last night. The much anticipated kickoff, unofficially, we'll say, to the NFL season is last night. You had the game that got underway, and you had a little football to catch, pay attention to. Raiders get a 27 to 11 win last night. 27-11 last evening was the final. Did not see Devontae Adams at all. Jared Stidham, Nick Mullins, Chase Garbers. He ends up going last night for Vegas. And Doug Peterson, head coach of Jacksonville, taking over. Jake Luton, Kyle Slaughter. They ended up throwing the ball last night. Nothing huge. It was kind of a ho-hum game last night. But we saw NFL football. 27-11. Good stuff. There you have it. This was from Anthony, who says, hey, Unit, love the Wisconsin State Fair. You're going to be there all next week. I'm not. I apologize. I'm not. I know we usually are, but today we get out of here. We tear all the equipment down. We head out and throw it all right into the RV, and then off to Sturgis we go. Just an FYI. So we'll be at this time next week. We'll be in Sturgis, South Dakota. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday show will be, from what I understand, I think they're setting us up again this year, poolside at the Pappy Hoyle Campground, which is adjacent to Full Throttle. And we're going to be out there at Jesse James Dupree's place. So that's where we're hanging out. So it should be a lot of fun. I'm trying to get... They got a new Brandon Greavy and the gang over there, and Tim and the gang. They run the Wisconsin State Fair Cream Puff Pavilion. I'm trying to get some cream puffs so we can take them out to the gang out in Sturgis and have them try them on the air next week. How about that? Maybe we take a little Wisconsin and go west. Love that. And by the way, the State Fair brownies are back this year. That's a major announcement for me. Those State Fair brownies, those things are to die for. Oh my God. Just put your head inside it and eat your way out. I love those things. By the way, he goes on to say the trade for Hader was very disappointing. I don't think it's going to be replaced, and I don't think these guys are going to pan out. I think this is a very rare David Stearns miss. Yeah, because if you look at Stearns and what he's done, he's pretty much caught lightning in a bottle and had a lot of success. The Jackie Bradley Jr. deal was bad, and then he got rid of Jackie Bradley Jr. and brought in Hunter Renfroe, which was great. So he made up for it. But this Hader thing right now, boy, I agree with you. The early returns on this deal suck. Sock. Kyle, what's more Wisconsin, cream puffs or cheese curds? Cream puffs. I'm going to tell you something, Kyle, between you, me, and the fence post, okay? So listen close to your radio. I'm going to whisper this real quick. I'm not a huge fan of cheese curds. Now, I love them fried. You know, you go bar style, they put them in the wonton stuff. Oh, I love them fried. I love me some good fried cheese curds. But like the raw, when people say the squeaky cheese, I'm not a fan. Just an FYI. I know that's like sacrilege. And I like cream puffs. I do. I can't eat a bunch of them, but I like them. But I'm a brownie fan over the cream puffs. Oh, my God. The State Fair Blue Ribbon Brownie, if you haven't had one of those, oh, you don't know what you're missing. It's like a Reese cup on steroids, but without the peanut butter. Awesome. Let's do this. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. Broadcasting live out here at the Wisconsin State Fair. We are across from the Cream Puff Pavilion. We're inside the Goose Island Ale House next to the Budweiser Pavilion. Come on by. Say hi. The food is now. I can smell it. Food's going. Beer's flowing. Gates are open. People are walking around. Beautiful day. Warm day. Breezy day, but good. Good feeling day right here at the Wisconsin State Fair. Got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Wisconsin isn't snobby, snooty, or pretentious. It's Midwestern charm at its finest. And that's exactly what Forgotten Fire Winery in Peshtigo is all about. Fun in a bottle without the attitude. You can find their full wine and cider lineup in their tasting room or in liquor and grocery stores throughout the state. The winery is a great place to get away for wine and cider tastings, great live music, and private events all year long. Remember, any time is a great time for Forgotten Fire wines and ciders. Wisconsin wine made from Wisconsin people.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program. Bill Michaels Show. We continue on. I know. Had a couple people come up to me here at the Bud Pavilion that walked in and said, what? Not a cheese curd fan? I love cheese curds when they're fried. They're like my bar go-to. I'm not a fan. I'll eat them. I mean, I've had them. As a matter of fact, I just had them a couple of weeks ago. I'm not a fan of the cold curd, so to speak. But I mean, will I eat them? Absolutely, I'll eat them. But I'm much more of a fan of the brats, the beer. When you're talking about Wisconsin, that was the question that was posed to me. What's more Wisconsin? Brats, beer, or the cheese curd thing, or the cream puffs? And I'm like, well, for me, it's cream puffs. Cream puffs because the brats and the beer, that's what everybody always associates. And I think it's kind of erroneous stereotypically when it comes to the portrayal of Wisconsinites. But if I'm going to go with what's more Wisconsin, I'm going to go with the Wisconsin cream puff than the cheese curd. But I love the cheese curd in the fried sense because I get them damn near everywhere I go. So I don't feel like I should have to explain my dietary Wisconsin habit, but some people got bent out of shape. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. That's not what I said. So when it comes to that, I love the cream puff. I do. I like the brownie better. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a chocolate guy. The cream puff is they're just really good, but I could eat the brownies until I got sick. The cream puffs, I can do 1, 2, throughout the course of a couple of days. But I crave the brownie. I don't crave the cream puff. Does that make sense? Okay, we good with that? There we go. This one's from Mark, who says, what a big weekend it is in Canton. He says, what are your thoughts on Leroy Butler going in? Leroy, it's been much deserved. And I've told this story for a long time when it comes to Leroy Butler going into the Hall of Fame. Okay, because I was a champion for this a while back. But take the whole Lambeau Leap thing out of it. All right? Let's do that, because the Lambeau Leap is tradition. It's unique. It's hokey in the sense that it's not what he did on the playing field. It was a celebratory emotion that he expounded upon on a play. And it became a signature. But he was a hell of a football player. You know, it's the most famous play he ever made was taking that pitch from Reggie and running it 34 yards into the end zone, up the field and jumping into the stands, pointing and jumping into the stands. You know? So that's iconic. Yes. But he was a hell of a player. And I was sitting in New York during the Super Bowl week years ago. And as I'm sitting there, now Leroy was there, and he had come on the air with me, and we were just kind of sitting there BSing a little bit. And as we're sitting there talking, Ronnie Lott, in the Hall of Fame, one of the best secondary players ever, played for the San Francisco 49ers. Ronnie Lott, who I used to watch and he used to just love to hit people, man. And he came over and sat down. Now, when you're a broadcaster and you get moments of Holy Grail, okay, there's one of two ways you can go with it. One is you can interject your questions and pick the brain and try to dig deep and maybe uncover something that was never known before. And you're going for that moment. And you think about that. And maybe early on in my career I might have. But this was one of those moments where I think I asked a question and then I shut up because Ronnie Lott and Leroy Butler began to talk and share memories and share technique and share thoughts, and you just shut up. But what Ronnie Lott did early on in that conversation was sit there and talk about how he admired so much the play, the technique, the smarts, the tenacity of Leroy Butler, and talked about the all-decade and the first 50 and all this different stuff regarding the Packers and regarding great players of the game, and talked about what a travesty it was that Leroy Butler was not in the Hall of Fame. Now, this was coming from a guy who had a gold jacket. He had no reason to stop at the table, to sit down, to talk to us, to talk to me, to talk to Leroy, other than pure enjoyment and want to. Right then and there, looking into his eyes, talking to Ronnie Lott, he was passionate about how Leroy Butler belonged in the Hall of Fame. And I'll never forget that. I'll never forget the look. I'll never forget the moment. And as I sat there, now in this, because it was in the Sheraton Hotel Grand Ballroom was Radio Row. It was very weird that year. Very small and intimate. Next to me was Sports Illustrated and the SI.com. And they were really kind of back then, 5-6 years ago, they were really starting to promote their online videos. And so they were running through guest after guest after guest. And Joe Montana came over. Boomer Esiason came over. And then you started to get this grouping of other, well-known players. I can go through the list, but it's more name-dropping at this point than anything. But they all came by and sat, and they were standing around. Jerry Kramer was there. They were standing around me, behind me, as these two guys, Ronnie Lott and Leroy Butler, were in front of me, talking on the air. And I think this thing went on for like 20, 25 minutes. I mean, it was a long segment. I just let it go. I wasn't going to go to commercial break and just let it go. And they all stood there and listened and were nodding their heads and talking. And so when this thing ends, there's all these guys that are sitting there talking about the careers and such, and then talking about Leroy Butler. So to say that it's long overdue, in my mind, I would say yes. Okay? As somebody who's never stepped a foot on a professional football field. But from the guys that were his peers, they all felt he belonged there. They all felt he belonged there. So that's why when you say, is this long overdue? Yeah, it's long overdue. Long overdue for Leroy Butler. Without a doubt. Long overdue. So it's going to be a nice weekend. I know there's already more than a few Green Bay Packers that are in Canton, Ohio. I've seen some of the pictures from the Packers website, and some of the guys on Twitter that are covering the induction ceremony this weekend. But kudos to Leroy Butler. And we'll hear more about why he belongs in the Hall of Fame and those around him that feel he belongs in the Hall of Fame. That's coming up here in just a little bit, so hang in there for that. Broadcasting live out here at the Wisconsin State Fair. Great day today. Beautiful weather. I mean, it doesn't get much better than this. Beautiful weather today, and the crowd is continuing to grow. And here inside the Goose Island Ale House, it's kind of calm right now. The calm before the storm, as you got Almighty Vinyl kicking it off in a little bit, and then you get some Bella Cane coming up tonight. So it's a big night out here at the Wisconsin State Fair. Stay tuned. We got a lot more coming up after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Now, a training camp update. In Green Bay, here's Mike Clemens.
The Packers held a nearly 2-hour practice, and defense made most of the big plays. Aaron Rodgers' intended pass to tight end Josiah DeGuara at the goal line was picked off by safety Adrian Amos. On offense, rookie receiver Romeo Doubs had another good day, bringing in nearly everything thrown his way. Doubs wears the number 87 jersey. The team got a visit by another 87, Jordy Nelson, who's staying with his friend and former teammate Randall Cobb.
Yeah, it's always good to see Jordy, to have him out there. I told him we might have a new 87, so I was messing with Romeo that the real 87's here. So, I'm going to give a little back and forth with both of them. But it's great to see him and just have him back around.
It's family night tonight here at Lambeau Field. Practice begins at 7:30 and will be televised across the state. Nose tackle Kenny Clark on what it does for players.
It just gives a chance to get those jitters out, man. And crazy as it sounds, this is my 7th family night, and you still get those jitters when you're running out that tunnel. It's definitely a chance to just get those jitters out, play in front of the fans, get the young guys accustomed to Lambeau.
And former Packers safety Leroy Butler will be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Charles Woodson on the Bill Michaels Show.
Leroy, man, when you look at Leroy's career and what he's done, and then you just compare it, it open your eyes. I mean, I think Leroy is definitely deserving.
Former Packers general manager Ron Wolf.
I always said, my time up there, I felt that we had 4 guys that were unanimous picks for the Hall of Fame. Sterling Sharp, Reggie White, Brett Favre, and Leroy Butler.
In Green Bay, I'm Mike Clemens on the Bill Michaels Show.
Some good stuff from Mike Clemens talking about Leroy Butler and the induction into the Hall of Fame. Coming up this weekend, good to see him go in and some of the comments there. And you're going to hear more of that coming up here in just a little bit. We'll talk with Mike. The final hour of the show today, basically, Mike and I, as Mike is going to talk about what's going on at camp, give us his thoughts, his insights, and then in addition to that, we're going to talk about family night coming up tonight as well. This is from John, who says, does the Aaron Rodgers story make him weirder, or does it just make him different? That's a weird question, John. Well, I guess it depends on what your own standards are. As far as making him weirder, how do I answer that? If you think it's weird, you think it's weird. I mean, it's kind of to each his own. I know it's been a story. It's been covered a lot in many different facets. That I know. But when it comes to if it's weird or not, that's up to your own judgment. That's not for me to say. I don't feel like if he does something that is illegal or hurts the team, that's one thing. But if he just does stuff that is off the beaten path because he wants to go live in South America in the off season, who knows? I guess that's Aaron being Aaron. I think people are looking to make some kind of a jump judgment here. And I've said all along, look, has Aaron changed as a person? Yeah, he really has. I have not talked to Aaron in a while personally. But I talk to him. I used to talk to him all the time. And as fame and fortune really started to set in, the old thought is fame and fortune will never change me. I'm always going to remain true. I think what it did was, one, yes, it did change him. And two, how do I put this? And I've said this before, so I'll say it again. I think Aaron puts himself on a pedestal. You never need to tell people or show people you're great because they can know you're great. They'll know you're great. Greatness is recognizable. Greatness is respected. I think Aaron Rodgers is great. But I think Aaron Rodgers puts himself on his own pedestal at times. And I think that's where the disconnect from fans, that's where the disconnect from others is. But he doesn't do anything wrong when it comes to, the police blotter. I mean, it's not like he's some kind of bad person. He's just different. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. It's not my cup of tea, but okay, I'm not going to go to Peru and hang out and climb mountains and do hallucinogenic tea. I'd rather jump on my motorcycle and ride through the kettles, or jump on the boat and take it out on Lake Michigan or one of the inland lakes. And I'd rather sit back and have a beer and watch a game. I'm not a Three Fingers of Scotch guy on a constant basis and doing the hallucinogenics. It's just not my cup of tea. But it doesn't make him a bad person or wrong. It just makes him different. You know, that's all. It's just a weird story. I get it, but weird is based upon our own thought. There's not a general consensus of weird. You know? So everybody's just got their own thing, you know. And I'll tell you this, what does now for a guy that doesn't like to talk about his personal life, nobody would know ever that he was doing hallucinogenic tea and wanting to feel 100 hands on his body and learning the true meaning of love and sounding weird because he wants to be a better lover. And, you know, I mean, these are things that you talk about sometimes behind closed doors. But if you were to kick open the door to your own self, what would you let leak out? Because I think there's a lot of things people never want others to know. You know? Whether it's just your own thoughts, your own biases, your own isms, your own freaky, whatever it is, you know. But he threw it out there, so I guess it is fair game to talk about. But beyond that, I really don't care. Hey, just go throw. If you throw touchdowns on Sunday, that's all I care about. If you're a good teammate, I care about that. You know, the one thing to remember, I will say, is that's your way of dealing with an off season. That's what you do. What you don't want is him saying to young guys, "Go do this. Be like me. Go be like me." You don't. You know, you once you earn the right, go be like me, because it's not for everybody. And he's got to remember that other people look up to him and say, "Well, I want to do things like Aaron Rodgers. Look at the success he's had. He's found this inner peace and this mental resolve. Could that turn into a translation of another championship? Who knows?" We got to get to the top of the hour. I know we're woefully late, but we're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, Packers training camp is underway, and one of the biggest questions is how will the offense run with a bunch of new name wide receivers? Here's more from Aaron Rodgers.
I think it's kind of gone how we thought it would go. You know, defense, other than the first day, has been giving us some issues up front, but there's been some days where we've ran the ball really well, I think. I thought, you know, we had a couple good periods yesterday, one-on-ones. I thought looked really, really good for us. I love doing one-on-ones, and it's good for our young guys to go against veteran guys like we had matched up yesterday. Red zone drills, you know, usually favor the defense early in camp. I don't think we're doing a great job in some of the protection pickups, but the best part is there's a lot of film to correct. Coaches love that, and a lot of guys are, you know, starting to click in and have some better practices.
The Packers now prepare for family night. That is tonight at Lambeau Field. Next Friday is their first preseason game in San Francisco against the Niners. And then September 11th is their opener against the Minnesota Vikings at U.S. Bank Stadium.
For nearly 40 years, ABC of Wisconsin has been helping men and women transform themselves into well-paid, productive members of their construction teams. Have you thought about a career in a skilled trade? These are the types of skills that could secure your future. Jobs that can't be outsourced to someone overseas. Be in demand. To get your career started, go to buildyourcareerwi.org.
Yesterday afternoon saw the Milwaukee Brewers get swept by the Pittsburgh Pirates in extra innings. Matt Bush would have a wild pitch in the bottom of the 10th to see the Pirates win 5-4 at PNC Park. The Brewers now welcoming the Cincinnati Reds to American Family Field tonight. First pitch is at 7:10. And finally, Wisconsin football is in their fall camp. Their first game, September 3rd against Illinois State, is at Camp Randall. For the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network, I'm Evo.
Live at the Wisconsin State Fair. We are glad you're with us. Brought to you by our good friends over there at Smoke on the Water. Now, Smoke on the Water, they got a big weekend coming up this weekend. I wanted to remind you, I know if you're not going to make it to the State Fair, that's okay. You know, it's not a must, but at some point I'm sure you're going to get here. But this weekend over at Smoke on the Water, they have got a lot of good stuff. First of all, on Sunday, this Sunday, starting at Sloppy Joe's and ending at Smoke on the Water, it's the Ride for Sight, Ride to Prevent Blindness. And it's Steve Schneider's ride, and he's a great guy. He does a lot of great stuff in the community, provides vision screening for young children in elementary schools to prevent future issues. That gets underway this week. Registration out at Sloppy Joe's begins at 9 a.m. Kickstands up at 11. They arrive back at Smoke on the Water by 3, and it is a great, great ride that helps out children and prevents childhood blindness. So if you can, if you're a motorcycle rider and you're looking for something to do this Sunday, stop out at Sloppy Joe's on Sunday morning, get yourself a really good breakfast, and then ride for sight. So really good stuff. Glad to have you with us. Those of you that joined us in the first hour, you know the angst and all the, I guess, disappointment, for lack of a better term. Some people are done. So like, screw the Brewers, I'm done. I'm never going to say I'm done. Well, I can't never say never. Sometimes I get pissed off to where I say I'm done, but I'm not done. You know, I still look over that fence and go, well, you know. But I understand the early returns on the Josh Hader trade have been crap. They've been bad. Not only do you lose Josh Hader, you get swept by a bad baseball team in the Pittsburgh Pirates. Talked about that a lot in the first hour. So, you know, it's funny. I asked the question. I got 3 or 4 people that commented about Mark Antanasio. Sell the team if you can't afford to pay players. Okay. And I said, at what point, if you're an owner, how much money are you willing to lose? $5 million? $20 million? $100 million? Because there is a limit to the budget that the Brewers have. So you say, you got to go all in. I agree with that. If you feel that you're on the cusp of something, you got to. Sometimes in one season, yeah, you go out and lose $5 million, $10 million, okay? Because eventually you're going to make that. You win a World Series, you're going to make that back up exponentially over the next couple of years anyway, and you're probably going to readjust. You probably still have some good players. You still got that wave to ride if you're a small market team. Look what the Cubs did. They're not even a small market team, but they rode that thing for a decade, right? Okay. So how much money are you willing to lose? But you can't do it on a year in and year out basis. You're not going to sign Juan Soto and keep Christian Yelich and keep Burns and keep Woodruff. And you're not the Yankees. So if the Brewers' budget, say, is $135 million, $140 million, you're not going to go to $300 million and say every year we're going to lose $160 million. You know, does it make sense? So be cautious. Be cautious. You could have an owner like the Cincinnati Reds who on opening day of the baseball season this year stood on the podium as the fans could not understand the offseason moves. They thought they were going on the cheap. They chastised the franchise and what Castellini had basically wanted and stated to the fans versus what was actually happening. And he stood on the stage to the fans at the Findlay Market parade, the opening day parade, and said, what are you going to do about it? That's what he said to the fans. Where are you going to go? So be careful what you wish for. I think Mark Attanasio is a good owner. I think David Stearns is a good GM. This deal sucks. This deal has cheap ass written all over it. That I agree with. This deal, I don't think made much sense. And it's turning out to be exactly what many of you and I thought. You don't trade away a good piece. You don't weaken any part of your team when you're claiming you're going for it. You want the, quote, another bite at the apple. It doesn't make sense. And then one of the linchpins, one of the key pieces in the deal, you just get rid of. So in that sense, I understand why there's angst and why people are, upset. I understand it. Talked about that in the first hour. Packers family night coming up. I don't know. People love family night. Families love family night. Kids love family night. You get a chance to go to Lambeau Field. It's a non-drinking, non-drunken atmosphere. Kids and families get to go. They get to see the stadium. You get to walk through that tunnel, and there that field, that completely historic field, unfolds right before your very eyes. And then out of the tunnel with the music and the fireworks and the green and gold fireworks, and they begin to go off, and you get to look down at your kid and you see their faces lit up by the light in the sky, and they've got their mouth open and they don't know whether to look to the sky or look to the field. And oh my God, there's Aaron Rodgers and there's A.J. Dillon and there's Aaron Jones, and and you get that. You get that adrenaline. You get that rush. You get that feeling. You get that wonderment to say, I'm a Packers fan. Other than that, family night sucks. It's a glorified scrimmage. There's not much to it anymore. It is what it is. But it's tradition. So it's coming up tonight, Lambeau Field. You got Brewers back in town as well. Don't forget, you had football last night. 27-11, the Raiders ended up knocking off the Jacksonville Jaguars. So at least you had something if you were a football fanatic, and you had that to latch on to last night. So that's not a bad way to go. Was enjoying that. Like I had mentioned, the Brewers coming back home, they take on the mighty, speaking of the craptastic Cincinnati Reds. Then they've got 2 against Tampa Bay, and then they go on the road for 3 against St. Louis before coming back home for 4 against the Dodgers. You better start winning. You better start winning. If you don't beat at least 2 out of 3 of the Cincinnati Reds, Tampa Bay's not a bad team. St. Louis is a good team. LA's a good team. And if you keep playing this way and you're pitching, the back end of your bullpen continues to suck, oh my God. You could, after the St. Louis series and the Dodgers series, when by the time you go to Chicago, you can find yourself 5 games back. Right? Might not be a bad way to go. If you don't start winning, then all of a sudden nobody's going to give a damn. Everybody's going to pay attention to Packers football. Complicated Fella says maybe the Brewers should have a family night and try to attract a younger audience. I'm in my 50s. Time to target the little ones as fans. Brandon says anybody who opens up a business knows you don't go in it to lose money. That goes the same for any sports organization. Correct. If you have the ability to recoup $5 million in a year or so, your business is making it $5 million. It is $5 million a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, but in the sports vernacular, it's a drop in the bucket, right? Right? I think we can all agree upon that. If you're willing to lose $5 million, that's one thing. If you're going to lose maybe 8, that's another. If you're going to lose 12, 15, I can keep going. You know what I mean? If you're not in it to lose 20, 30 million bucks. That's a chunk of change. That's a large number. So you got to. I understand when Brewers fans get frustrated. I'm with you because I'd love to see the Brewers spend more money, but I think the reality of what it is kind of punched us in the face yet again. We are broadcasting live out here at the Wisconsin State Fair. Music is in the background. If you don't hear it, then I don't know what you're tuning to. But you got some music on the stage right now here at the Bud Pavilion. Throwback Stereo is on the stage. They just got up there. Almighty Vinyl takes over at 3:30. And then later tonight, Bella Kane for a 2-night run. The second night of the 2-night run is going to be here. This place was packed last night. Jam-packed last night. I mean, it was a great start to the Wisconsin State Fair. Hell yes. Good stuff. What else do we got? We got some emails to get to, too. I want to get over to that. Our buddy Steve says, hey, Bill, happy Friday. Agreed, and congrats to Leroy Butler. The Hall of Fame induction is well-deserved and worth waiting for. What a pro's pro Leroy was. Regarding Ronnie Lott, back in 1981, the Green Bay Packers had the 6th overall pick and drafted and passed on Ronnie Lott and picked, of all people, Rich Campbell, who had arguably the worst arm action throwing motion of any quarterback in NFL history. Ronnie Lott was picked 8th by the San Francisco Giants or 49ers. Ugh. That's Steven Richfield. Ronnie Lott was such a good player. And he was an intimidating factor in the secondary. Now, you can't do today with the way they played the game then. And Ronnie Lott, tough ass guy, you just can't play it the same. You know, there was a guy, David Fulcher. He could have been a linebacker. He was a big safety for the Bengals back years and years ago when I lived in Cincinnati. And he played ferocious. I mean, just loved to hit, guys going over the middle. I mean, he was there as an intimidating force. And in today's day and age now, he'd maybe be an edge rusher, you know? Let's see here. This is Tamuchin. I can't even pronounce it. 12. You're over on the Bud Light. You're over on Twitch. Bill, if all these fans want better players, then they need to buy more tickets and more $20 beers. Good old cheap-ass Mark A. may just have enough money after profits to get you those 5-star players. Why would you say he's a cheap-ass? Go back to last year coming out of COVID when everybody thought he was going to scale back. I thought he would scale back, and I thought he had the right to scale back, being a small market team. And instead, he picked up Colton Wong, picked up Jackie Braley Jr., didn't jettison any of the bigger contracts, still paid Christian Yelich, had Lorenzo Cain on the docket. I mean, he spent the money, and they continue to try to get better. You know, when you say cheap ass, I want to know what your alternative is, what your plan is. Now, if they keep, say this happens. Say the only guy that signs with the Brewers out of the starting 3, Freddie Peralta, Corbin Burns, and Brandon Woodruff, is Freddie Peralta, I'll go right along with you. Because I'm like, how do you do that? How do you bring these guys up? How do you cultivate this talent? How do you get them to the forefront? How do they win a Cy Young with you and you go, can't afford to pay you, talk to you later? You can't do it, right? So that I'll agree with you. But right now, I mean, come on. He's done a lot of good. Mark Antanasio has done it wisely. Yes, you'd like to be able to spend a little bit more money, but he's done it wisely. They've been good about it. And for the most part, their moves normally have panned out. This one, unfortunately, not only has not panned out, but it's also a very high-profile move that was driven and motivated by money and saving money, and that's the disappointing thing. 877-867-1670. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, our buddy Josh Quinn from the Bud Pavilion and the Wisconsin State Fair Park going to be joining us. We'll talk a little bit about it. Today I want to do the tasting. They've got that Flamin' Hot Cheetos chicken stuff on a steak. So I want to do that when we're actually on the air. I want to try that because I heard really, really good things. I didn't do it yesterday. I stuck with the traditional. So today, I got a little corn dog in me, but I'm going to try these things because I heard they're great. So we're going to try that coming up at the bottom of the hour. Also, later today, the last hour of the program, pretty much dominated by Mike Clemens. He's going to be joining us as well. You're going to hear, coming up next, I want to go over to the football side of things because coming up next, we know that it's a big weekend for Leroy Butler and company, right? It's obviously a big weekend. But coming up next, Mike Clemens has had a chance to chat with some of the current Green Bay Packers and Christian Watson, Rasul Douglas, and Randall Cobb. We're going to hear the Q&A with Randall Cobb coming up here next, so stay tuned. Stick around. We are broadcasting live at the Wisconsin State Fair on day 2 of the Bill Michaels Show. It's brought to you by our good friends over there at Quick Trip. I'll tell you this, when I hit Quick Trip on the way out of town, it's going to be filling up with Quick Trip, using the Quick Rewards card, stocking up on anything and everything, getting to Worthington, Minnesota, hitting the last Quick Trip on the way out of town because that's the last one that I can reach before we get into South Dakota. So we're going to stop there as well. That's how much I appreciate Quick Trip, and they are the official fuel provider of the Big Unit Cruiser. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
I give that a 2.99.
Okay. Hey, Dad.
What's wrong?
That woman over there. Don't look.
What did she do?
She judged my dive. Gave it a 2.99. Isn't that weird?
Hey, that's Gina Della from Pella. I'm going to find out what this is all about. Excuse me. Why are you judging my daughter's diving? I know who you are.
I'm sorry? Judging?
Yeah, she said you yelled out.
Oh, no, I wasn't talking about her. I was finalizing this month's special at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. That's funny.
What's special?
Pay only 2.99% interest for 10 years.
On new Pella windows. Really? 10 years?
Yep.
But it's the middle of summer. You can't get a deal on installing new windows during the warmest season.
You can at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
2.99.
Dad?
Oh, not you, sweetheart. The deal at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. 2.99% for 10 years.
Visit PellaWI.com.
Approved credit.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
How we looking? Stuff on a stick. Had the corn dog today. Oh, so good. Got the Flamin' Hot Cheetos chicken coming up. Going to try that out here today, as that's one of the new items here at the Bud Pavilion. Stop in and try that. And it's a fair-goer favorite, apparently. You can scan your code and tell the fair how you like it. Make it one of your favorites. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Milwaukee Bedbug Pros. Go to MilwaukeeBedbugPros.com. That's MilwaukeeBedbugPros.com. No bugs out here, but if you got creepy crawlies anywhere near you, say in one of your apartment complexes, in one of your buildings, in one of your properties, whatever it happens to be, get a hold of Michael. Get a hold of Michael over there. They can help you out. They do it in many different ways. Call them 414-877-5811. It's safe. It's effective. Thermal and chemical options available. It goes after the eggs. They have come up in discreet trucks and discreet uniforms, and they're not advertising that you're all nastied up or just want to be preventative in your buildings as well. Call Michael, 414-877-5811, 414-877-5811, 414-877-5811. That's MilwaukeeBedBugPros.com. That's MilwaukeeBedBugPros.com. Before we get into the interview with Randall Cobb, I was asked a little bit about some of the outrage regarding the Hader trade, and I think it spoke loudly. If you go back a couple of days and read Adam McCalvy's columns, where he talked about, Christian Yelich said it was surprising. Brandon Woodruff said he was on a golf course, and he thought it was a joke that it actually happened. He thought it was a joke, and said he couldn't believe it. He thought there's no way, And Devin Williams, he said, I don't know what to say. Following the additions of Taylor Rogers, Lamet in the Hader trade with the Padres, and then dealing for Matt Bush as well, they ended up bringing in the rehabbing reliever Trevor Rosenthal from the Giants. They picked him up. So they tried to add more arms. You tried to do it by a group rather than by the guy. And then Lamet, obviously, being DFA'd. But I think when Woodruff said it best, I thought it was a joke. That tells you the mentality of the guys in that clubhouse, that there's no way they're going to do this. We're in the midst of a run here. We're leading the division here. We started out 7-2 coming out of the break. He's throwing so much better coming out of the break. He was a little worn down going into the break, but he's so much better. We're good. We're a good baseball team. Why are you going to mess with us? This is a joke, right? No, it's not. And since then, they've gone on to lose 3 straight. I thought of all the comments, of all the reaction coming out of the Brewers clubhouse, I thought that one was the most telling. And Woodruff's pretty candid. I love Brandon Woodruff. I love to talk to him. By the way, Brandon Woodruff, he's a fair guy. I would not be surprised to see Brandon Woodruff walking around the fair today. Just an FYI. I would not be surprised. Because he was out here last year this time. So, there you go. Anyway, Randall Cobb, wide receiver for your Green Bay Packers, back and forth with the media, a little bit of a Q&A. Here's what he had to say. Take a listen.
He's doing so early in camp. Do you look back and say, man, that's even more than I did? Obviously, you had that lockout.
He's looked great so far. We tell him every day, be consistent with it. And he has, and now he's set the bar and the expectation. And, I think that as long as he continues to put the work in and learn and not get complacent and not think that he's arrived, because, it's a long journey. I had some ups and downs my rookie year. And I was able to take it into year 2. But it's a lot that you can learn through every day, and he's done great with the adversity so far.
If I'm counting right, this was camp 12 for you. What's it feel to be a 12th-year player in this league and that lasted this long?
It's crazy. It's crazy, to think of the average career being 3 to 4 years. I would have never saw myself here. My goal was always 12 years. But I've always been one to focus on the moment and put everything into the moment. And just looking back on it, to be in this position now is great. And I just try to do everything that I can to pass along to the other guys. But at the same time, I'm competing to play too. So I'm not just out here just to be here. I still got aspirations and things that I want to do this season.
You said your goal was always 12 years. That prompts a question. Do you want this to be your last year, or you want to go Brady till 45?
Well, I definitely ain't going Brady. I can tell you that. I'm not putting, like I said, I stay so focused on the moment. I look forward to this season and the opportunities that present themselves, and we'll see what happens moving forward.
Good to see. I was just going to ask, it's good to see Jordy, and he made any observations or share anything with you?
Yeah, it's always good to see Jordy. To have him out there. I told him we might have a new 87, so we'll see. I was messing with Romeo that the real 87's here, so I'm gonna give a little back and forth with both of them. But it's great to see him and just have him back around.
Thanks, Randy.
Randall, when you and Jordy touch base like today, is it hard? I mean, you're busy too. I mean, you're doing this stuff. Is it hard to stay in the moment and not start reminiscing or something, or feel nostalgia at all? You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, definitely. It's crazy to think that I'm still out here doing it, and he's at home on the farm hanging out. But that's what we like. He's gonna stay at the house for a couple of days while he's out here, so we'll be able to have those moments. But yeah, like I'm locked into practice. I just went over to say hi and say what's up for a second. But yeah, I mean it's great to see him. Jordy stood in my wedding. I look at him as a brother. I did a lot of growing, and he was a big piece of who I have became because of the man that he is and the values that he have, and just being able to learn from him by watching him. Not that he was necessarily saying or doing anything, but just me observing him and the way that he was and the person that he was. So. It's great to just be able to see him again, and yeah, that's it. We talk about it all the time. We spend so much time with each other during the season that we're spending more time with each other than we are with our family a lot of the time during the season. So you become family when you're spending so much time together and talking about a lot of different things with life and going through things together. You have a deeper connection sometimes.
There you go. That was Randall Cobb talking about some of the young guys and what they need to do and understand and where he's at. He's not ready to say his career's done, but he knows he's in the twilight of it. That's for damn sure. Hey, I want to remind you, coming up on Sunday, September 4th, let's ride. Let's get it all together. Doesn't matter if you own a Harley or a Yamaha or a Triumph. Doesn't matter. Come on out and join us for an incredible cause. It's the 15th annual poker run, brought to you by our friends at Bud Light, who have been with us all 15 years as we ride for military members, veterans, and their families. Fisher House, Wisconsin. It's an incredible ride. The ride itself is awesome. But the amount of bikes, the people we get, the people that have been with us all 15 years, but continue to come out each and every year, we can't do it without you. And if you can get registered, go to FisherHouseWI.org, FisherHouseWI.org, and then click on the events page, and you can go right to it and get pre-registered for this thing. And we give some great pre-registration prizes out as well. But if you want to find out all the information, you can always look at Facebook.com/Big Unit Poker Run. Thanks to our friends at Wisconsin, Harley Davidson, also Potawatomi Hotel Casino, and they're fantastic. They came on this year and said, hey, we want to be a part of it. We want to help the veterans. We want to do something for you, and they have in a big way. They've donated some money. They've been able to say, hey, we're going to send you dealers to deal the poker hands at the end of the ride. So a lot of good stuff from our friends at Potawatomi Hotel Casino. Also, our friends at Growth Law. Go to GROTH, Growth Law, one of the top 20 biker law firms in the country, and they're right here in our own backyard, right in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So if you are a biker and you need an attorney, there you go, growthlaw.com. Also, our friends at MKE Brewing, which is where it starts this year yet again, MKE 9th Street, downtown Milwaukee. And don't forget about our good friends out at Buzzard Billy's out in La Crosse, where they have been pushing riders in our direction for a while now. And I encourage you, if you're on the western portion of the state, go dine at Buzzard Billy's. They are fantastic. They got great food, great margaritas. Stop in and tell them we said hi. Also, Great Lakes Dragaway. Great Lakes Dragaway, a tremendous place, a staple of Wisconsin down in Union Grove. Stop down there and see all the action that they have going on. And our friends from Kane and Kane, Koehn, Kane and Kane Jewelers. Andy Kane and his staff, not only great people and great jewelry, but they have different, pardon the pun, facets for different buyers. They even have a thing you can follow called Buy Like a Guy, where they talk about buying engagement rings, buying rings for that significant other, buying jewelry in general, and things like that. So Buy Like a Guy. You can follow that over on Instagram as well. But it's Kane, Koehn, Kane and Kane Jewelers, located in West Bend. And trust me, it is worth the drive. We're going to talk some State Fair and Bud Pavilion when we come back. Hang in there. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Catch all the racing action at Road America. Camping and corporate events available as well. Go to roadamerica.com for all the information. Road America, America's national park of speed. Smell those steaks on the grill? Summertime is grilling time. Get your steaks shipped directly to you. Go to ScholzieFamilyBeef.com. That's ScholzieFamilyBeef.com.
Check. There we go. You hear okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes.
So what's new?
Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes.
Please remember the laptop.
She'll remember it for sure.
I'll send her a note.
Yeah.
Hey, don't forget the laptop.
We've already had people that have been on the stream.
What's going on? Oh, that's right. Thank you.
We've had people on the stream that said, "Hey, when you're leaving, don't forget to tell Chris to use the laptop." Yeah, I told her, I said, here's the smart thing to do is take the lap desk and put the lap desk on the front seat. Just stick it there now, so when we go to get in, it'll remind you that you gotta have the thing.
I put stuff literally in front of my front door. Your, the garage door. Like I lean it against the door, so if I open it, it'll fall out. Maybe that's where I'm at.
Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute.
Because I had not put all my clothes, and I'm like, no, I put any riding shoes, leather shoes, leather.
I still do like the phone piece wallet.
Yeah.
And I'll walk out without it and be like,
right.
Erica does the same.
I'm a list maker. I make my list and I check everything off.
I like a good list, but I hardly ever make them or follow them.
I can't do it. Otherwise,
Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Ran in the oven, too much to remember in the first couple of days.
Drink up water out there. I'll watch this down with that.
No, the challenge is you can't.
Right?
Gotta just eat it.
I was told the same thing with a bad girl.
Oh boy.
Right?
I don't know anything about it.
Much. If you're listening, hanging out, whatever it happens to be, we certainly appreciate it. Broadcasting live at the Wisconsin State Fair. I'm Bill Michaels, and now joined here again today, Josh Quinn, our guy out here. We'll call him the do-all when it comes to the Budweiser Pavilion, whether it's the marketing or the stage management, whatever it happens to be, keeping everybody on schedule. How you been, man? How'd day one go?
Oh, it's crazy. I mean, today's going to be even crazier. Yesterday, perfect weather, awesome bands. Country band over at the main stage. We had country all day. Pelican last night.
Right.
Rob Harvey, who runs Pelican, came up and he was like, listen, I just want you, I don't know if you ever met him. He's very intense.
Yeah.
He's like, listen, man, just want to let you know, we're going to stack the front half of this set list. We're just going to light this place on fire. And they absolutely did. I mean, they were changing personnel every song, and they were playing different instruments. And I mean, this place was body to body all the way out into the street for the rest of the night. It was great. Yeah.
Good kickoff, and the weather's good. I mean, I know it's going to be warm this weekend and a chance of rain, but for the most part, if you look at the overall 10-day outlook, it's great.
Yeah, you and I on the break, I joked with you, and I said there's like a 7-degree variance that Wisconsinites seem to really appreciate, which is like 72 to 78 degrees. It's either too hot, too cold, but I mean, the Bud Pavilion is a pavilion. It's covered. It's open on the on the sides. It's fan cooled. You got ice cold drinks, ice cold beers. So if you need a break from the heat, we did have a couple people go down yesterday around the Bud Pavilion from heat exhaustion.
Really?
So we were taking care. I think we had 3 people. So they came in here to seek a little refuge. I'm just telling you, if you're going to drink all day, that's fine, but you got to throw some regular water in there. I know beer is water, but
you got
it's
to mix
not
it up
the same.
a little bit.
Yeah, you really do.
So a couple of things. What do you got coming up this weekend? We're not going to be here this weekend, obviously, but what do you got coming up this weekend before we get into this delicious food that you sat down in front of me?
Yeah, first weekend with great weather is going to be awesome. Tomorrow, well, first of all, tonight, I mean, killer day. We've got Throwback Stereo. It's a 90s, 2000s rock cover band on stage kicking it off today. Almighty Vinyl. I mean, the kings of classic rock in this area are coming in this afternoon, followed by another night of Bella Kane. Great country again. Huge show. Saturday, we've got the Toys at night. Sunday, we've got, for the first time, the Milwaukee Toolshed Band with the entire spaceship of 15 people or whatever they have.
They're awesome.
Yeah, I think they have like 10 people. We're working with them to try to get as many people and instruments in here as possible. I don't think we've ever had a band quite that big, but we're going to make it happen. So, yeah, we've got a great lineup, and then we've got our normal battery of awesome food and beer and, general entertainment.
So we're sitting here, and I am posting as we speak. So if you follow me over on the Facebook fan page, you can track it down.
Yeah.
But we have got and for those watching, I don't think you can really see it, but we have got the flaming hot chicken on a stick.
Yeah, it's Flamin' Hot Cheetos chicken on a stick.
Okay.
So I don't know if your viewers online can see this, but it is a bright red, rolled, juicy, tender chicken breast that is rolled in crushed Flamin' Hot Cheeto dust. It is deep fried
oh my God, that's
to
good.
a perfect temperature. And I'll tell you, I don't just say perfect because I'm biased, which I am. But every review we've gotten, even from the Sporky judges, said the chicken is worth the price alone. And then we sprinkle some more special seasoning on top. Top it with a chipotle ranch. It's friggin' amazing.
That's amazing.
Everyone we've talked
How
to.
in the hell did you guys not win?
I don't know.
Did you see the Milwaukee Foodie website?
Yeah. Yes.
That gave you guys were it. They're like, out of all of them, this is it.
Yeah. At Milwaukee Record, Foodie, even the Sporky judges, 2 of them said this is a winner. Whatever. I mean, everybody's got different tastes, and you like to go for the bigger. Always seems to be better here at the State Fair. These aren't huge, which is great for sharing. But some of the other sporky items are really, really oversized, which makes it fun. I mean, everything at the state fair is oversized. So, but if you want a really delicious meal, these are fantastic. So
that's amazing.
You just put you put it in your mouth. So, what do you think?
I'd buy that.
Good.
I mean, I'd buy that over and over again.
Okay.
That's
I
my
told
meal.
you can't drink the water, but you did
I
it
know
anyway.
I did because I'm in radio. But this, with you guys, you're one of the only places here that's, and I'm biased because it's my childhood.
Yeah.
I love crinkle cut fries.
Oh, yeah.
You're one of the only places that sell
really?
crinkle cut fries.
Yeah, no, you can't do
and
anything
they're
but a
good
crinkle
fries.
cut.
They're not like extra seasoned or anything. They're just fries and salt, and it's they're just awesome.
Our kitchen staff is real young, but everybody in there knows what they're doing. They really care about the food they're making. We go through a decent training process, but everybody there wants to make the best food possible. They want to make sure, even to the fries, like you said, like just to drop them at the right temperature for the right amount of time, so they're not soggy, they're not too crispy. So, yeah, we're really lucky with having some really great food here.
That's awesome. Those things are really, really good.
Yeah.
So you've got Bella Cane coming up tonight. You obviously have a big weekend.
Yep.
The rest of the run of the fair, and obviously you have big days every day. Don't get me wrong. But is there one that you're looking forward to the most?
Man, I'll tell you. I mean, everything. You're right. Everything is different, and it's not that I'm not playing favorites, but I mean, Monday night we've got DJ King James, who's an amazing DJ. He's going to play for a lot of the kids and just house music that people love. The Kingfish Band on Tuesday is a brand new band to the Bud Pavilion. They do a lot of really interesting country and alternative stuff. Stetson and Lace is an awesome, well-known country band on Wednesday, and then we go for the final Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Almighty Vinyl, the Love Monkeys, Cherry Pie, and then on the last day, it's traditional to do Boo the Band. It's their reunion. And they've been around for 25 years or so.
Yeah, Rick Pomeroy, as a matter of fact, who's
Rick's
the lead
great.
singer, played my Christmas party at my house.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Well,
and
you
that
get
was
all
one
the
of
best guys.
That was one of the best parties.
I've never played your house during a Christmas party.
You're always invited. You never come.
Clearly,
You have never. You've been to one party, and that was at my old house.
That's because it was the best party I've ever been to.
That was you've been to one party and you did a mic drop, and that was the extent of it.
I work too much. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's I think you're home petting the dogs,
Yeah,
which is okay. It's a good excuse.
I love my dogs, but we do. I mean, every band that we have, there's really not. I mean, there's never a loser in the group, but I mean, everything is so different. It's so diverse that every day, other than the day one, which was all country, I mean, it's like from rock to Jimmy Buffett to alternative to yacht rock, classic rock. I mean, we really try to get we've got our first real true funk and R&B band, hip hop kind of old school called V-Funk coming in. So, we try to really mix it up as much as we can because we cater to all kinds of people from all over the fair. And you never know who's walking by and is going to hear something and go, oh, my God, that band is really great. And then they come in, they start listening, they get interested in the band, they stick around, they talk to us, they have a beer. So, every year we try to make it as diverse as possible here. And this year I think we have the best band diversity.
And I've always told people, anybody coming out to the Wisconsin State Fair, this is by far, short of the actual theater stage, the big outdoor stage, this is the biggest stage there is.
Yeah, I mean, inside capacity is 1,000.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always another fight. Like last night, walking around the fair, and there's no disrespect, as they say, to the other stages, but I mean, this was the place. I mean, everybody was here. It's always a great time, and we try to put on a really great show, and have the nicest staff, the most catering staff, best production. We do our best. So I hope everybody will come out on a gorgeous weekend and at least stop by, say hi. You can always ask for Josh.
There you
come
go.
out, say hi to you, and give you a high five, and I'll tell you the story about why Bill doesn't invite me to his parties.
Yeah, well, he plugged the toilet. That might be the extent of it.
Well, your meatballs.
The meatballs are, that's maybe we do that out here, next year. Maybe you put the Sporky Awards for the meatballs. We combine them with something. But good stuff. I'll give you a call next week from Sturgis, and we'll talk again, see how the week is. There you go. Josh Quinn of the Budweiser Pavilion. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show live out here at the State Fair right after this.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Now, a training camp update. In Green Bay, here's Mike Clemens.
The Packers getting ready for family night, 7:30 tonight here at Lambeau Field. The team will practice in pads, followed by fireworks over the stadium. Packers head coach Matt LaFleur on what the benefits are for younger players on the roster.
A lot of our young guys, it's their first exposure obviously in Lambeau, but with our fans. And there's, I think, a natural excitement, potentially an anxiety that goes along with that, knowing that there's a lot of eyes on you. But at the end of the day, it's still football. And we got to train our guys to kind of have that mindset that you go out there and you compete just like you would any other day.
Former Packers safety Leroy Butler will be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Bobby Bowden, his coach at Florida State, recalled the first time he saw Butler at a high school game in Jacksonville.
Well, first look I got at him, he was in a basketball game. I saw that look. With his ability to play basketball and run around and cut like he did, he'd make a heck of a defensive back.
Brian Gutekunst says he first met Butler after being hired as a scout by Packers GM Ron Wolf.
When I walked into this building for the first time, he was one of those legends. You get Brett and Reggie and him. And yeah, I mean, I think the thing that I remember most about Leroy was the affection that Ron and the other scouts and coaches had for him and what they thought of him as a player. I respected those guys so much and what they thought about players. To hear them talk about him in the regard they did, I mean, it's probably long overdue.
Earlier this year, Aaron Rodgers was in Los Angeles to accept another MVP award when he learned Butler had finally been voted into the Hall of Fame.
I was so excited. I saw him at the honors, and just to see that look in his eye was really, really special. I've known him for a number of years now. That's the beauty of being a Packer. You're always kind of around some of the older guys. He was a top 3 player at his position for an extended period of time. It's probably long overdue, but I'm really excited that he's finally going in the Hall of Fame.
In Green Bay, I'm Mike Clemens on the Bill Michaels Show.
Continues on. We are broadcasting live. We are here at the Wisconsin State Fair inside the Goose Island Ale House, right across the street, right across the fountain this way from the Cream Puff Pavilion, the famous Cream Puff Pavilion. Just about 2 hours down, 2 hours yet to go as we continue here at the Wisconsin State Fair. This portion of the program brought to you by our good friends at the Milwaukee Admirals. Today, by the way, is Admirals Day, in case you did not know. The Milwaukee Admirals putting on a display here today. So if you're out and about and you run into them, say hi. And they are now taking the orders for the season tickets for the 2022-2023 hockey season. Coming off of a playoff run, Milwaukee Admirals looking to do a little bit more damage in the AHL Calder Cup Finals this year. Go to MilwaukeeAdmirals.com. Support the Admirals. Again, MilwaukeeAdmirals.com. A great tradition here in the state of Wisconsin, the city of Milwaukee. Good stuff. This one is from Mark, who said, damn it, now I'm hungry. He says, you sitting there eating food in front of me on camera makes me start to drool. I literally felt my mouth begin to salivate. Going to be heading out to the Wisconsin State Fair this weekend. Anything there you recommend? Well, Mark, I obviously recommend, going to the Budweiser Pavilion at some point and getting some of the Flaming Hot Cheetos and doing what I did. I walked over and I scanned the QR code as one of the fan favorites, the fair faves. So that's one thing. You've got, it depends on what day you're coming, but there's so much to see. Hey, don't forget our good friends Gina Della from Pella and the gang from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. They got a booth inside the Expo Center. But you got to go to the Expo Center. By the way, how old is the Sham Wow? Because they're still here, and they're still cranking, and they're still doing the crazy commercials. I had some friends pick up the Sham Wow a little bit earlier and said it's the same people still doing the same thing, just spilling crap everywhere, sopping it up out of carpets, spilling stuff on clothes, sopping it up out of clothes. The Sham Wow. Nobody, usually when you get a good product, it sticks, but then everybody expounds upon it. Nobody has expounded upon the Sham Wow. The Sham Wow. So what are you going to do when you come to the fair? It depends on what you like to do. But a couple of things that I always do. If you're going to follow me around the fair, one, I usually begin and end at the Bud Pavilion because I love the music. I do walk through the Expo Center to see what they have to offer. I pick a food or two that I'm going to try. I usually pick up a box of the award-winning brownies, but you can go for the cream puffs. You have to do the giant slide. Doesn't matter what age. Got to do the giant slide. Got to. It's tradition. You got to do that. Giant slide, and then usually the giant Ferris wheel, if the line's not too bad. But I love to stroll. And what we were talking about before when Josh was here from the Bud Pavilion, and again, I am loyal to the Bud Pavilion, but I love to stroll. And I love to catch a band and just walk up and get a beer and listen to a little bit of music and then move on. A couple of songs, then move on. Just to kind of see some of the people that I know, some of the people I don't know, I never have heard before. Because there's so much good music in the state of Wisconsin, and so many bands come from all over, not just Milwaukee, but all over the state to play here. So I love it. I love the stroll. I love the graze, all of it. But then you got to do a corn dog at some point, something on a steak. And, that's kind of it for me. I'll walk through, maybe I'll buy a couple of things. I walk through some of the shops. There's some mercantile shops that are underneath the grandstand for the Milwaukee Mile. I'll maybe stroll through that, and kind of look around. After a while, it looks like the same old crap, so you kind of start to have your eyes roll back in your head. But that's it. That's what I'd like to do. So if you're going to follow me around, that's what I do. What you do, that might be different. Might be different. This one is from Lita. Lita says, it's a shame that they got rid of Josh Hader just to save some money. The Milwaukee Brewers are foundering right now. If they don't get at least 2 out of 3 against the Cincinnati Reds this weekend, I will throw my hands in the air and begin to only look north. Lita, I think you are like a lot of, quote, fans right now. No, don't get me wrong. Let me say this. There's a lot of good Brewers fans in this state of Wisconsin. It's not just Milwaukee, just because they have Milwaukee across their chest. In the state of Wisconsin, a lot of baseball fans, a lot of hardcore baseball fans. We're going to live and die. We're going to pay attention to Packer football on Sunday. Pay attention to Packer football preseason, and we're always going to be watching Brewers games throughout. I do it just like you do it, okay? Probably more so a fan first and doing what I do second. So I look at it a little bit different because I know I got to work, but I still, it's what I do. Whether going to the game or watching it on TV. But I that's what I do. It's on almost every night in the house as I'm doing things. It's either in the background or I'm sitting down or doing both. So I'm not turning away from the Brewers. I still think they've got a run in them. I just am really in a very short litmus test questioning right now the move they made, how it affected morale-wise in the clubhouse, and whether or not they got weaker just physically, the physical ability to play baseball better. I think they got weaker as a team. Now, does that make them on equal footing with St. Louis, or is St. Louis better or worse? We're going to see. I'm going to be rooting for the Brewers, but we're going to see. I don't like the trend right now. I don't think any of us do. But I can't imagine that lasting from now throughout. If it does, then this is one of the most morale leveling, detrimental trades to be made with the Milwaukee Brewers. And I think right now you've got both Mark Antanasio and David Stearns kind of biting their fingernails going, what do we do? Come on, guys, turn it around. What did we do? How much more did we weaken our team? So I think both of them right now, and probably a little bit of Craig Counsell too, although I'm not blaming Counsell for it, but probably a little bit of Craig Counsell too, saying, oh my God, what do we do? What do we do? How do you get this back? So there you go. We got 2 hours down. We got another 2 hours yet to go. We're going to hear from Christian Watson coming up here in a little bit. Also, Rasul Douglas, picked up last year by the Green Bay Packers, played extremely well, defensive back, kind of playing that nickel back right now. And we're going to hear from him as well. That's coming up. Mike Clemens in the last hour of the program. We're going to hear from him quite a bit and get the sense as to what he's seen at camp so far, what to expect tonight for family night. We'll talk a little bit about memories as Leroy Butler being inducted into the Football's Hall of Fame. Got all that coming up. Stay tuned. We're broadcasting live at the Wisconsin State Fair, day 2 of the fair. Brought to you by our friends at the Wrestling Taco right here in West Allis. Stop out to the Wrestling Taco, 84th Street, just south of the State Fair Park. If you're going to go to the fair, maybe after the fair, stop in, say hi to Marcus, hi to Nicole, go in and get a margarita, hang out for a little bit. Good place, the Wrestling Taco right here in West Allis. Stay tuned. We got more coming up right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Packers going to be inside Lambeau Field for the first time since January when they host their annual family night later today. While it's old hat for many of the team's veterans, Coach Matt LaFleur believes there's a ton of value in what amounts to a dress rehearsal for their new players.
A lot of our young guys, it's their first exposure, and obviously in Lambeau, but with our fans. And there's, I think, a natural excitement, potentially an anxiety that goes along with that, knowing that there's a lot of eyes on you. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's still football, and we got to train our guys to kind of have that mindset that you go out there and you compete just like you would any other day.
This will be the final practice of the week. Get tomorrow off before being back on the field on Sunday. They open the preseason next Friday in San Francisco. Turning to the Badgers, they're in day 3 of fall camp. The team is relatively healthy when they hit the field, with running backs Isaac Garendo and Ches Malusi each taking part after season-ending injuries last fall. Wisconsin will open the season September 3rd against Illinois State. Meanwhile, the Wisconsin basketball team released its non-conference schedule today. Includes a game against Stanford at American Family Field, games at Marquette and Wake Forest, in addition to going to the Bahamas playing the Battle for Atlantis.
Want to save even more at Fleet Farm? Well, now you can with Fleet Rewards. It's free to sign up, and there's no credit card required. Using Fleet Rewards is easy. Earn points every time you shop. Plus, get exclusive member offers, birthday and anniversary perks, free tire rotations, and more. Download the Fleet Farm app or create an account at fleetfarm.com/rewards to start earning points today. Fleet Farm, proudly serving the Midwest since 1955.
Well, the Brewers back home after an ugly series in Pittsburgh. Milwaukee got swept by the Pirates, now find themselves in a tie with St. Louis for first place in the NL Central. Get over to series tonight against Cincinnati at American Family Field. First pitch at 7:10. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
The Bill Michaels Show. Yep, Anthony, they are even better tasting than they look. Welcome back to the program. He was talking about the picture that I posted on Twitter and on the Facebook fan page of the flaming hot Cheetos chicken on a stick. I can't get over. I'm not one to try a lot of weird stuff, but that's the real deal right there. The chicken itself, I don't know how they do it, but the chicken itself is outstanding, and it's fair food. It is what it is. Let's talk some Packers football, shall we? We've talked a lot about the Milwaukee Brewers today. We've got into that discussion a little bit about this team and where they stand right now, and we can get back into that. But the Packers are on the cusp of family night. Next week, they open up the preseason. You got, I guess, the biggest talk coming out of camp is the worry about the offensive line, specifically the tackle position, trying to mix and match guys to figure out what they're going to do. The fact that Christian Watson was the guy that they traded to get, and he has not been able to practice. He has not been able to get on the same page as of yet with Aaron Rodgers. And after getting rid of or allowing to go, basically, Devontae Adams in the offseason, one of the best, if not the best weapon in the National Football League, now you got to figure out where your productivity is going to come from. Christian Watson was going to be a part of that, will be a part of that, but obviously having the knee surgery has really set him back early on in camp. So you got a lot of questions in that area. And then the outside linebacking position. And as we had talked about yesterday with Rob Reichel, I don't think the backup outside linebacker on this team is on this team. I don't. I think they're going to go back out and find somebody or two before it's all said and done because they're extremely thin at that position. Now, I guess the one benefit, the one thing we have not talked about, which is a good thing, we've not talked about devastating injuries, knock on wood. We've not talked about anything that's been a dire negative. It's just been a lot of work. Romeo Doubs has been everything that he's been building. And what I saw from him early on and what I saw from him on tape and just my first initial reaction, sometimes your gut reaction, even though your mind will tell you one thing, your gut reaction is your gut reaction. And from the very beginning, I thought, I bet you this guy's going to be the contributor over Christian Watson. I bet you he's going to be the go-to guy. He's going to develop because I just liked him. And for where they drafted him, I loved it. So I think he's, so far anyway, he's working out. Now, how much better he gets and whether or not he's able to contribute in a massive way, we'll have to wait and see. But I like what he's got going on. I know what Randall Cobb is. I know what Alan Lazard is. I'm really interested to see, and you tell me, I'm really interested to see if Alan Lazard emerges. You know what I mean? And I know that you'd probably look at it and go, what are you talking about? Emerges to what? But I really want to see Alan Lazard because on the if you go back the last couple of years playoff wise, the guy that's been open when Aaron Rodgers forced the ball to Devontae Adams in those situations against Tampa Bay and against San Francisco last year, the guy that was open was Alan Lazard. Now Lazard's going to get different coverage, okay, because you're going to be wide open when you've got double and triple coverage swinging in the way of Devontae Adams because everybody knows that's where Aaron Rodgers is going to go with the football. But I want to see how much Alan Lazard emerges. Does that make sense? I want to see if he's the guy that everybody is kind of discussing. I think some might be giving him too much credit. Others might not be giving him enough. Saying that he's this diamond, and I look, he's not 4.3 speed. He's not 37-inch vertical. He's not huge arms. But if you're a very good route runner and you have that good kind of intuit, if you will, with your quarterback, you can really be a good player. Devontae Adams is the example of that. Devontae Adams is not the fastest. He's not the big leaper. He's not that guy. He doesn't have this unbelievable gift of physicality. But what he had was the work ethic and the ability to study and get it and the knowledge to get on the same page with his quarterback. And it took a little time because remember, his first year, he was banged up too. But it took a little time, but he became that guy. Jordy Nelson was deceptive in many different areas and was just a hell of a receiver. But Jordy as well became one with that guy. So can Alan Lazard be that guy? Can he now, since he's going to get the yeoman, the lion's share of all of this, can he now be that guy? When you start to look at the Packers and what they have, they've got some issues in camp. We talked with Paul Allen yesterday, the Minnesota Vikings, their offensive line, their tackle position's a little bit of a work in progress. They know they've got some things in camp. They're trying to get, they believe they're better in the secondary. They believe that their corners are now solid, and they believe their secondary is much better. Can they be better up front? Can they be better on the edge? And in pass rush was Zadarius Smith. So they believe they're ready to go. In the meantime, you go down to Chicago, and Justin Fields, for all accounts, looks better. But their offensive line is funny. Their offensive line ranked 32nd. And the question was, well, tell us why the offensive line for the Chicago Bears ranked 32nd. And the response was, because we couldn't rank them 33rd. So Justin Fields, for excuse me, no matter how good he may or may not be, he's going to be running for his life. We know that. And then Detroit is Detroit. They're trying to figure it out. But you don't have any of the major problems. Think about it. Matthew Stafford's got an elbow injury. Nobody even knows what it is. They decided with Matthew Stafford in the offseason not to have surgery, but just to take him completely off of his training methodology, to not throw the football at all, to not do anything, just rest the elbow. You can physically work out, but just go rest the elbow, just get ready for camp. They did the blood platelet treatment to put more blood and more oxygen and such into the joint and into the elbow area to make it, quote, heal quicker. Anyway, everything they've done to no avail. He's still having issues. He's got problems. So he's got issues. Pittsburgh, you look at Pittsburgh, they've got problems with their quarterback situation. Joe Burrow not practicing in Cincinnati after having an appendix removed. Now, I would assume that's not going to set him back too far, but still, he's not practicing, you know. You've got Lamar Jackson trying to work out his contract at some point. Kyler Murray doing the same after he ended up getting the big deal. Now he's got to go out on a prove-it deal with all kinds of pressure on him, you know. And there's Cliff Kingsbury continues to be mentioned as one of the coaches in the hot seat. It seems like everything in Green Bay, for the little things that you and I look at, for the most part, are just good. You know, it's just like they're just supposed to keep on churning, see what happens, continue to do it, you know, and just get a little better. But I don't know if they're that little better. Defensively, I would assume they are, but they're also thin in some areas. So just synopsis-wise, breakdown-wise of the Packers and what they are. I think the Packers are a team that is better defensively. I think just because they're going to be better in special teams. Now, whether or not they can be as good or better in offense, because if you're not better, you're getting worse. But with a better defense and better special teams, you should be a better team. I still think they're going to win the division. We went through the schedule already. I think 13, 14 wins is not out of the realm of possibility. I just am really curious to see what it is. And then the other question is, I know that everybody's trying to answer at this point, does Aaron Rodgers play at all in the preseason? Do we talk about same page and getting comfortable and getting on the same page and you know, getting the knowledge and knowing me, knowing him, all that kind of stuff that we're going to hear that's going to begin with some of the other wide receivers to try to get on that mental level with Aaron Rodgers. Should he even play in the preseason? That's going to be a discussion. And I know many of you have already come at me and said, you know, absolutely he needs to play in the preseason. The thing is, if you're not going to play more, you know, if you're going to play 2 series, you know, say it's 2 series, 2 3-and-outs, it's what, 6 snaps? Who cares? That doesn't matter to me. To me, I want to see a productive series or 2. And then at that point, I'd pull them. But if you're just going out there to go through the motions and say, hey, we're just going to do some live game reps, who cares? That doesn't mean a lot to me. Thoughts? 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Now, Christian Watson, he had a back and forth with the media, had a chance to catch up and talk with him about the progress of his knee injury, going back to the wide receiving core. Talk about the knee injury, talk about where he's at. Christian Watson meeting with the media and the back and forth. This is what they had to say. Take a listen.
Obviously, look at it from a different perspective on the sideline right now. But it definitely feels like things have slowed down now. Obviously, having been through, mini camp and then OTAs, and then now coming into training camp.
There's a picture of you and Romeo celebrating after he made a big play. I think it was yesterday. What's it been like for you? I know it's frustrating not being able to be on the field, but what's it been like for you to watch a fellow rookie have as much success as he's had?
It's been amazing. That's the kind of culture that I've kind of been introduced to since the moment I stepped foot. In this club is that that we're going to celebrate each other's success, and we're only as strong as the weakest link, and I'm going to be just as excited, if I was scoring touchdowns, if Rome was, or, Allen or Cobby. It was kind of the same thing for me in college. There was a lot of opportunities that, weren't, given to me in a sense, we ran the ball a lot, and that was how we were successful. Just learning how to, be happy for your teammates and be happy with your role in that specific play, being just as happy, as if you, make a touchdown block, if you score a touchdown. It's exciting to be able to see, those guys go out there and do their thing and continue to grow and make plays.
That being said, with you not being able to be on the field, is it a little bittersweet for you not to be able to try and, I don't want to say top it, but do the same thing they're doing?
It definitely is. There's that frustration there. But at the end of the day, I trying to stay away from the negative thoughts and just think about the positive. In that moment, I'm definitely not thinking, like, I wish that was me or anything like that, anything negative at all. I'm just happy for the guys.
What kind of communication do you have with Aaron Rodgers when you're out there? What do you learn from someone like that in the Hall of Fame?
Honestly, I'm trying to learn everything from him. Anytime I have a question, anytime I see him do something, I'm not really familiar with, I definitely, go over there and ask him, and he's been great at, really explaining everything and welcoming all of the new guys and kind of, putting them through his process. Anytime I have questions, I definitely, go to him and ask him. And he's been an amazing resource for me so far, and I'm excited to continue to learn from him.
There you go, Christian Watson talking about so far camp-wise. He hasn't been able to do anything, so we haven't had a chance to fully see what his capabilities are coming back from that knee issue, that minor surgery he had. So, but good to catch up with him nonetheless. Hey, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break coming up here, but when we come back, Rasul Douglas, want to hear from him as well, and to listen to his thoughts on coming back to the Green Bay Packers and bolstering that secondary. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends over there at Forgotten Fire Winery. Forgotten Fire Winery, great people. Jake is a tremendous asset to that winery, and obviously Chris and Melissa, the owners, great people. But they just enjoy fun in a bottle. That's their motto. Just have fun in a bottle, and it doesn't matter. They're not snooty. They're not pretentious. They're not drinking with pinkies out or anything like that. It's just enjoy what it is we do, and that's it. And hopefully you try it. All I've ever said is, if you enjoy it, get it, and if you've never tried it, try it. It doesn't matter what it is, whatever your likes are. A Merlot, try a Merlot. A Pinot Grigio, Moscato, ciders, whatever it happens to be, check them out. And if you actually go to the winery in Peshtigo, Wisconsin, up near Menominee Marinette, stop in and you can get the Bill Michaels deal. But you got to ask for it. You got to ask for it by name. But go to ForgottenFireWinery.com to see all that they have to offer. That's ForgottenFireWinery.com. ForgottenFireWinery.com. And ask for it by name. And if you're going into a local grocery store, liquor store, wine store, all throughout the great state of Wisconsin and even beyond the borders, ask for it. ForgottenFireWinery.com. That's ForgottenFireWinery.com. And this weekend, they got some big doings. They got food trucks. They got music this weekend. So if you're not coming to the fair and you're up in Peshtigo, that's the place to be. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
One of the worst things that you can hear, you have cancer. The worst is when you hear the words, your child has cancer. When a child is diagnosed with cancer, it changes their world. Sometimes they can't even do things that they really love, like playing soccer, riding a bike, going to prom, attending school. Children with cancer spend a lot of time away from others, time in the hospital, treatments, tired, nauseous, and they feel isolated. That's where Special Spaces Wisconsin steps in. They provide these children with a special space where they can not only sleep, but they can play, they can heal, they can spend time away from the challenges of their illness. It's a customized bedroom designed just for them. How about a princess castle or a pirate ship or a sports-themed bedroom? They transform that child's existing bedroom into a place that only he or she can imagine, a place for them just to be a kid. This effort is done with teams of dedicated volunteers and sponsors, just like our friends from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and all the community partners. If you'd like to find out more or to donate, go to specialspaces.org. That is specialspaces.org.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
To have you. Glad you're on board today. Thanks so much. Appreciate it very much. Got a lot of good stuff going on here at the Wisconsin State Fair. This portion of the program, by the way, brought to you by, I mentioned it before, our friends at Pillow Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. You can go a couple of percent interests when you're talking about Pella. And right now, you can do it for 10 years. You can lock this stuff in 2.99%, almost 3%, but 2.99% for 10 years with our friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. The best part about it is that say you're strolling around the Wisconsin State Fair, and we know tomorrow is going to be kind of hot, right? Go into the Wisconsin Expo Center, the Tommy Thompson building. Stop in there. You know why? Because that's where Pella's at. Pella's actually here on site at the Wisconsin State Fair. Tell them I sent you. Say, hey, I just heard it on the Bill Michaels show. I was coming over here, wanted to go in, see what you had to offer. You can look at different windows. You can look at sliders. You can look at the roll screen, the new improved screen that they have, in-screen windows. You can look at so many different things, and then you can go ahead and set up that free in-home consultation. You can look at different hardware. You can look at different colors, all kinds of great stuff here at the Wisconsin State Fair. That's where you can find Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call them 855-PELLA-WI or go to PellaWI.com, but you can also stop in and see Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin right here at the Wisconsin State Fair. That's kind of nice, walking into the State Fair and checking out windows. Good stuff. So Rasul Douglas, secondary, Green Bay Packers. They picked him up midseason last year, and he had a hell of an impact, Had a hell of an impact. And so this offseason, he was one of the guys they wanted to prioritize in bringing back. He had a chance to sit down and chat Q&A-wise with the media. Take a listen to what Rasul Douglas had to say.
How much Charles did you watch as I don't want to say you probably weren't a kid per se back then, but as a
what years was he?
A younger player.
What years was he in the league?
2000. You got here in 2006.
So I was like in fourth grade.
Right, and then he was player of the year up until
09, 10. 09. Yeah, player of the year 09. So that's when I was like in eighth grade.
Okay,
yeah.
So you weren't a kid per se, but nonetheless.
Yeah, I seen a little bit, but yeah, man, one of the best. Just smart, knows where the football at, great ball skills, always get the ball. He can go to the house. So that's the best thing about being a DB. I think that puts you at the top of the DB when you have ball skills and you can return skills as well.
With Rogers talking about how smart you are, I know you talked like 100 times last year about the film study with Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
Is that where the genesis of your high football IQ comes from, or does it come from further back?
Just being a player. I've always got interceptions, always been able to catch the ball, always been able to play receiver. So those came along, but just being with OG and learning more about what I need to see and what I need to watch helped me a lot. So every day I always talk to OG what I should have did, what I did. He'll just talk to me, go over. He'll be like, well, if you see it like this, play it like this. And if you see it like this, play it like that. So we kind of always go back and forth, and I get my knowledge. And him, RD, and Hoodie, they kind of just sit with me and just talk to me about what I could have did or how I seen what I seen and what they see and what they would like for me to do. So
now that you're with Jerry for a second year, and anything new that you picked up from him now heading into this season?
OG don't change. He's the same every day. He's the same guy. He's going to come in here. When it's time to business, he's going to be business. When it's time to play, he's going to make jokes. He's going to crack on everybody. He's going to get those days where he come in and he make jokes about everybody and be funny, but OG's always going to be OG.
Speaking of jokes, I remember he told us last year he tell you're single because you were here till 7:30.
Yeah, man.
How late are you staying these days?
Right now, probably like around just like 8. Not crazy right now, but I know probably like after the last preseason game or so, then I'll start getting back on my regular routine of being here till like 9, 10. So.
From the peanut gallery, we have seen, if we could describe it with one word, this training camp, it would be competitor. And Aaron talked about how he comes to you looking for that competitive fire, looking for those conversations about the competition.
Yeah.
How important is it to have, for a whole defense, for a whole team as a unit, to have that mindset of, okay, we're super competitive every single day?
Yeah, always compete. That's the atmosphere we got here. Just compete, everybody be on their best. Because it's best on best, and even Coach, now he does a great job of he'll have competition days every day. So it'll be like he'll call guys out. So today it was Thump and Amari. So they got 3 one-on-one reps and see who win the most. Or just we'll go in there and we'll do basketball, who can make the most shots. And I lost to Mullet. I lost, but it's all right though. Bad day. And some days he do skit. He has skit day up there today. He'll give a picture of something, and you got to write a caption of what you think the picture was. And y'all know that Aaron Rodgers posed when he came in the first day of camp. It was like, make a caption to this. And the offense, 3 rookies had a chance, and then the defense, 3 rookies had a chance. And see who had the best caption. So he always keeps it competitive because that's when we bring out the best in each other.
What was the best caption?
Captions were really weak today between us, but
Between us, yeah.
it's getting better though.
How would you have captioned it?
Or Aaron
Yeah.
caption? I don't know, man. That was a smooth picture he put up there. So I don't know what I would have said. I would have had to talk to my team about it.
Rasul, the energy surely hasn't left the defense. You guys having celebrations today. Just how fun is this group of defense that you guys have here?
Yeah, we having fun. A lot of fun. We're getting a lot of turnovers. We're punching at the ball. We're flying to the ball, and we like it. And that's just accountability between everybody. Everybody knows there's one goal. There's one way to play. That's fast. So that's how we're playing, and we're just having fun with it like little kids.
Like Bill said earlier, you talked about learning so much from Coach Gray last year. Is there anything new you've learned from him this year as you guys have reconnected?
They know, everybody knows what is capable of this unit. So everybody gonna come out here and try to embarrass us. They know how good we are individually, but as a team. So we just got to be on our stuff because that's where everybody gonna be on their stuff when they come to play us.
Everybody raves about OG. Can he be a head coach?
Hell yeah! If he wanted to, yes, for sure.
Why? What makes him?
Because he's a player's coach. Those are the best coaches. Players actually play the game, know a lot about the game, and that has fun. But when it's time to really work and be serious, easily. So we know when it's time to play, it's time to play. It's time to lock in, notes, film, it's time to lock in. And he does a good job of doing both. So he always keeps us into it. Sometimes I used to be kind of fall asleep during a meeting or something like that. But with him, it's nope, you're up, you're into it. It's always a feedback. You talk, I talk, not just I talk, you listen the whole time. So
Does he talk to you guys more about his own playing career or more about guys that he's coached?
I think since he lost the hair, he just stopped talking about it. But we know because we all Google OG and we seen him catch a lot of picks and stuff like that. And even sometimes we'll put in the group chat a play of him. We find one old school play and we'll put it in the chat. He'll talk his little mess, He still got that drive in him, so he'll talk it a little bit. But that's really it.
You put in a pretty good audition tape to be a D coordinator against Arizona, right?
Man, hell of a plan.
I mean that seriously. On the surface, we see your reception, obviously the 21 points.
Mm-hmm.
What influence did he have, and what was it like getting him in
a lot? I think Joe trusts him. You trust him, and they both got a great connection with each other. So that's just how it goes up there. It just comes down to us.
There you go. That's Rasul Douglas talking with the media, a little bit back and forth, and he's the guy the Packers went after in the offseason to retain, keep his services after getting him last year. And he had a pretty impressive campaign for the Green Bay Packers, and hopefully that can extenuate all the way through the season this year. Hopefully he can extend that whole thing out rather than just that small snippet that he had with the Packers in the second half of the season. Hopefully he can do that for an entire year. This portion of the program brought to you by John Atley and the gang at The Water Doctors. Go to H2doctors.com. That's H2doctors.com. And John and his staff, they do great things for veterans as well with the Custom Canine Service Dog Academy. Love those guys and girls over there. But if you want to call John directly, call him 262-549-7733. The Connecticut water softening system is by far the best. It is what I had numerous others in my home. And when I ended up getting the Connecticut system, I got frustrated with them. And when I ended up getting the Connecticut system, I mean, that was it. That was I'm home. This is it. And I've had it ever since. And for over a decade, I have had zero go wrong with it. I've changed the filters. That's the only maintenance that I really needed to do, obviously, and add the salt. But and it only runs on its own pressure. So it's not like it's timed every day to start regenerating. It only runs when it's out of water, when it's starting to get low and it kicks over to a secondary tank. And it's just such a great design. Check out H2doctors.com, H2odoctors.com, or call John directly, 262-549-7733, 262-549-7733. They are great people at the Water Doctors in Waukesha, and they support veterans. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show live at the Wisconsin State Fair next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket, this is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Are you a gold breaker? Play your favorite games at Potawatomi Sunday afternoons now through September, and you could win your share of $1 million in prizes. Break the code, win the $10,000 top jackpot, and everyone playing slots also wins a prize. Anyone can win on any machine again and again. Do you have the golden touch? Gold Breaker, only at Potawatomi. Visit paysbig.com/goldbreaker for more. Must be 21 years old and a club member to play.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Friends at New Mound Medical, treating guys with ED all over the state of Wisconsin, well beyond the borders as well. And if you know it, that you got it, I don't have to tell you, but they have a 98% success rate at treating guys with ED. 98%. And all you got to do is call. All you got to do is call. Oh, yeah. Give them a shout and say, hey, I got some things going on here. Can I stop in and see Dr. Tim or any one of the medical experts over at New Mound Medical, and they can help you out. When you call the New Mound Medical Center, it's 414-455-4451. That's 414-455-4451, the New Mound Medical Center. And maybe you're feeling just tired, moody, sluggish, whatever it happens to be. Hit them up. They can help you out with that as well. If you're over the age of 30, maybe it's low T, or if it's the all-in-one weight loss program and you're walking around State Fair going, oh, my God, I'm huffing and puffing and climbing to the top of the giant slide, wore my ass out. They can help you out with that as well. Call them, 414-455-4451. Get yourself into shape, looking better, feeling better as we start to head towards, I hate to say it, fall. I'm not pushing it because we go summer goes all the way through the 3/4 of the way through September, okay? So I'm not keep your pumpkin spice latte crap out my face for the time being. I walked into Walgreens last night and saw that it was pumpkin season when it came to Halloween already. I'm like, you kidding me? Come on, man. But if you're you still want to feel good and look good come summertime, 414-455-4451. There you go. 414-455-4451. There you have it. So Leroy Butler, as we all know, going into the Hall of Fame this weekend. And he ended up with an incredible career for where he started and what the outlook was to where he is today. And one of the guys that thought so highly of him was Mike Holmgren. And Mike Holmgren has this insight of what he thought of Leroy Butler when he played for him.
Partner Leroy Butler. Well, he's a leader, obviously. Aside from being a great football player, a very talented man, he was a leader. And I don't think he didn't strike me as a tremendously vocal guy running around doing everything, but he was a leader when he had to be vocally. And then also his example on the field. Yeah, I'm sure he had bumps and bruises just like everyone else, but he's a tough guy. And then, of course, when he jumped into the stands that first time, it kind of set the tone for years and years and years to come.
Then you got Bobby Bowden, the late Florida State football coach, who ended up recruiting him. And the question was, when asked about Leroy Butler, Bobby Bowden recollects what kind of a player he was years ago.
Can you talk a little bit about recruiting Leroy out of Jacksonville down there and going and visit him?
Yeah, number one, I think the first look at him, he was in a basketball game. I saw that look. Mm-hmm. And so the assistant coaches, they would come to me to get approval to recruit him. I said, yeah, let's go after him. With his ability to play basketball and run around and cut like he did, he'd make a heck of a defensive back. So we started recruiting, and I remember going. Let me tell you something funny about him. So the next move now was me to get to go to his house and meet his parents and meet and talk to him at his home. That's usually what you did in recruiting. I get one visit. I'm the head coach. I get one visit. So I called Leroy. I said, Leroy, we're going to come visit. Well, that made him happy, And he said, Coach, when you come to see me, you'll go by to this 7-Eleven store. There'll be a lot of men out front. Don't stop. That's exactly what he said. Don't stop. And so he's right. I drove about 4 more blocks down the street where he lived, but they didn't like those strangers like me in that neighborhood.
Well, but Coach, you're Bobby Bowden. You're legendary in the state of Florida, Coach. You can go anywhere you want.
Yeah, but I didn't want to die either.
There you go. That's Bobby Bowden talking about Leroy Butler and the first time he had a chance to go check him out. In the meantime, Charles Woodson, who Charles Woodson. Have you ever talked to him about the game of football when there's people that he likes, he admires, he respects? He was asked about Leroy Butler and his prowess. Here's what he had to say.
Leroy, man, when you look at Leroy's career and what he's done, and then you just compare it, it open your eyes. I mean, I think Leroy is definitely deserving.
And Leroy Butler going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame this coming weekend, without a doubt, and deservingly so. I told you the story about Ronnie Lott a little while ago, and so it's going to be a big weekend. Big weekend coming up. It's really different because usually you have the induction ceremony and then the Hall of Fame game. And instead, the NFL, because I had a couple of people ask me, why did they play the game last night? The NFL is just trying to capitalize on a standalone audience. That's it. Rather than worrying about weekend sports when you have golf and racing and baseball and everything else going on, they wanted a standalone kind of, if you will. So they did it last night, only going up against regional baseball. And they were successful in doing so. A lot of eyes last night on the game between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Oakland Raiders, watching the Raiders win last night. So that's the reason they did it. So kudos to Leroy Butler and all of his accomplishments, and obviously going in to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and very much deserves so. This was from Joel. Joel says, what do you think of the Deshaun Watson decision to go ahead and appeal that by the NFL? The NFL, we have not talked about this, and I have not gotten into neither the NFL's appeal, which is a little more NFL and related to the Brittany Griner stuff. I just haven't done it. And it's not because I don't want to. It's just that, first of all, they're vastly different. Deshaun Watson, the reason the NFL is doing what they're doing is because they want a 1-year suspension because of the backlash that they're receiving. The first victim, I don't know if you heard her reply when word came down that he was going to get or got a 6-game suspension. The word was that she said the NFL does not respect women and basically says tough blank. Okay? Tough stuff. And so that was where that came from. And when you got a victim that says this, and the backlash through other, like if you read the Cleveland Women's Rape Clinic and Hotline, and their response to the NFL, which was prevalent, it was large. That response was large. That's the reason they're doing what they're doing. So whether or not they're going to be successful, we'll wait and see. But they're not going for a couple of games. They're going for an entire season when it comes to a suspension. And the Brittany Griner thing, look, I've said all along, once you start playing around with other countries, if you do things in other countries, there's only so much you can do. You know, if they have laws against certain things, you can't do it. I don't know what to tell you. You know, and I know there's a lot of backlash because she's been very outspoken about not participating in the national anthem and some things where she calls Russia her second home and her love. And people are like, well, good riddance. If that's your second home, and then you should have known better. Therefore, don't start asking the United States for help. What do you want me to say? You know, it is what it is, I guess. You know, is it a harsh punishment? Hell yeah. In our eyes, it is. It's unbelievable. But you abide by the rules that country sets. And they say that they wanted 9.5 years for her, and instead they gave her 9. So I guess she doesn't have to worry about kneeling for the national anthem for the next 9 years. I mean, I don't know. That's at least a prevalent thought going around social media. But I think it's a shame that all of this had to happen. You know, it is what it is. Let's do this. We're going to step away, take a quick break. When we come back, let's talk some more State Fair staples. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show. It's coming up right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
One of the worst things that you can hear, you have cancer. The worst is when you hear the words, your child has cancer. When a child is diagnosed with cancer, it changes their world. Sometimes they can't even do things that they really love, like playing soccer, riding a bike, going to prom, attending school. Children with cancer spend a lot of time away from others. Time in the hospital, treatments, tired, nauseous, and they feel isolated. That's where Special Spaces Wisconsin steps in. They provide these children with a special space where they can not only sleep, but they can play, they can heal, they can spend time away from the challenges of their illness. It's a customized bedroom designed just for them. How about a princess castle or pirate ship or a sports-themed bedroom? They transform that child's existing bedroom into a place that only he or she can imagine. A place for them just to be a kid. This effort is done with teams of dedicated volunteers and sponsors, just like our friends from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and all the community partners. If you'd like to find out more or to donate, go to specialspaces.org. That is specialspaces.org.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes.
Yep, yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay. Oh, cool. Yeah. Yeah. We go to, my son and I go to Taekwondo right at the business park, kind of right there. And then, I live in Tonner Brookfield, so like go out and jam. Go up Janusek, like by the town hall and all that.
Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute.
Nice. Everything's right there. So are you town? Oh, that's Milwaukee. Yeah. What's the school? Oh, sure. Yeah. Oh, sure. Okay. Yeah.
Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
No, it's Yeah. Yep. Quiet life.
Now, a training camp update. In Green Bay, here's Mike Clemens.
The Packers held a nearly 2-hour practice, and defense made most of the big plays. Aaron Rodgers' intended pass to tight end Josiah DeGuara at the goal line was picked off by safety Adrian Amos. On offense, rookie receiver Romeo Doubs had another good day, bringing in nearly everything thrown his way. Dobbs wears the number 87 jersey. The team got a visit by another 87, Jordy Nelson, who's staying with his friend and former teammate Randall Cobb.
Yeah, it's always good to see Jordy. To have him out there. I told him we might have a new 87, so I was messing with Romeo that the real 87's here. So, I'm going to give a little back and forth with both of them. But it's great to see him and just have him back around.
It's family night tonight here at Lambeau Field. Practice begins at 7:30 and will be televised across the state. Nose tackle Kenny Clark on what it does for players.
It just gives a chance to get those jitters out, man. And crazy as it sounds, this is my 7th family night, and you still get those jitters when you're running out that tunnel. It's definitely a chance to just get those jitters out, play in front of the fans, get the young guys accustomed to Lambeau.
And former Packers safety Leroy Butler will be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Charles Woodson on the Bill Michaels Show.
Leroy, man, when you look at Leroy's career and what he's done, and then you just compare it, it open your eyes. I mean, I think Leroy is definitely deserving.
Former Packers general manager Ron Wolf.
I always said, my time up there, I felt that we had four guys that were unanimous picks for the Hall of Fame. Sterling Sharp, Reggie White, Brett Favre, and Leroy Butler.
In Green Bay, I'm Mike Clemens on The Bill Michaels Show.
The Budweiser Pavilion is where you can find us inside the Goose Island Ale House, 3 o'clock today. They have a new tapping out here. They do it each and every day. So if you're a craft beer connoisseur, come on out and say hello. We've talked about some of the foods out here. Obviously, the Flaming Hot Cheetos chicken on a stick, which is a huge hit. But I was dancing in the streets today when Leanne Hawk, who is the owner of the Bud Pavilion, came over to me and said, "Hey, by the way, did you know the brownies are back?" I mean, I had to go buy new pants. Tim Gill. So what is your title over there?
Yes, I'm the co-director at the Original Cream Puffs.
At the Original Cream Puff Factory right there, which is right across from us. So first of all, thank you for coming over and on short notice. But the brownies are back. So last year they weren't, okay? Was it just because of supply chain or just because you just wanted to kind of start to put the train back on the tracks?
Yeah, last year, unfortunately, we couldn't do the brownies and the cookies. It was a supply chain issue as certain things had to be, months out in advance, and with not knowing how everything was going to happen, we're like, we'll stick to the cream puff this year, but last year that was. But this year we were able to kind of work some things and plan it out, and we've got them back this year.
I was telling people earlier, I said, look, what is Wisconsin? They asked me cheese curds or cream puffs. Hot cheese curds I like, cold ones I'm not. It's not that I don't like them, it's just I'll eat them, but I'm not the biggest fan.
Sure.
Cream puffs are the staple. But to me, the hidden gem of Wisconsin is the brownies you guys make. Those things are fantastic.
Yeah, I think you are the leader of the fan club on that one.
That's amazing.
It's a growing club,
yeah.
for sure.
It's I've always been, years ago, I was told one time I started talking about them, there were people that didn't even know you had them. And then they started getting a run on them, and people were like, holy crap. I got friends around the country that this time of year will say, hey, can you get me some of those brownies, wrap them up, and send them to us? Because we used to just have to send the things out. That's how good they are. So now that we're back and the numbers are up and we don't have restrictions and such, what is it like over there right now, first couple of days of the Cream Puff Pavilion?
It's booming. People are excited. They're coming in. We got the to-go windows outside. People are lining up. But inside, they're enjoying watching everything being made again, coming through, looking through the windows and all that. Everything's running smooth. It's been fun. We had a great opening day yesterday, and this forecast is looking beautiful.
Right. Yeah, it looks like we only got a chance of rain on Sunday. It's going to be warm weather again tomorrow, and then next week looks great.
Yeah.
I think there's one day that's predicted to be a partial chance of weather, and that's it.
Yeah, and, sometimes it doesn't last long. You can go inside the expo or, the micro or the Bud Pavilion and check it out.
Right.
And
So how long you been over there?
So this is my 6th year over at the Original Cream Puffs.
So you get into it, you just get it cranking, and then COVID hits. Just as you start to get a feel for it, how difficult has it been over the last few years to get this thing right?
Yeah, that 2020 was certainly a wild ride, but with changes and all that come opportunities, right? So 2020, we did the State Fair drive-through, put on by the fair, and the Cream Puffs was part of it. That was a great opportunity to build new systems for pre-ordering, drive-through, and a lot of people came for that, and that was an awesome time. And at the same time, there had already been conversations about, hey, can you do other flavors and different things?
That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
Is where the offshoot is. I know at one time they talked about putting different icing on the brownies, and they were thinking about doing that, and they were going to do like a peanut butter icing and make it like a giant Reese cup. And so, have you thought about like a cinnamon cream puff or a cheese cream puff or whatever? Is that something that's in the offing, or is it just stick with tradition?
Well, we brought in some new flavors. So in 2020, we had the pumpkin spice latte cream puff that we did a drive-through for. And then last year we brought that back when Harvest Fair came back in September. We introduced the latte cream puff with that as well. So we're planning on that again at Harvest Fair this year. And then we've introduced strawberry cream puff that we had with the cocoa cream puff for Valentine's Day.
Are they now? But those aren't available right now. It's
That's
just the traditional.
Yeah, during the 11 days of the fair, just the original cream puff.
Just the original cream puff. So over there in that building, it's just cream puffs and brownies right now. And cookies.
And cookies.
And the cookies are back.
And
the cookies are great. I don't talk enough about the cookies, but my choice is always going to be the brownies. So how many people are you going to get come through there? How many cream puffs are you going to make through the run of the fair? What's expected?
I'm looking at around 370,000 this year. That's kind of my projection, but, people love it.
How many pounds of filling is that?
You know what it is?
Like if you were going to fill up my bathtub, how big would my tub be?
If it's 7,500 gallons of cream.
Holy crap.
And now that's unwhipped, obviously, right? You're going to whip that up, and we're talking,
That's a big bathtub.
That's a big bathtub.
Yeah, I could bathe in that, though. I could do that, without a doubt. So before we let you go, I also wanted to ask you, so through the run of the how many people, because we all talk every day, you see it, we need help, we need help, we need help. How about the help over there and what you guys have? Because like the Bud Pavilion, they've got kind of a faithful core that come back. They have about an 80% retention. What is it like over there right now and getting people to come in and make cream puffs?
Yeah, we knew going into this would be hard because in the past we've hired about 200 people. So we knew there might be some issues. So we ramped up a volunteer program that we had. So different nonprofit groups, sports teams will come in.
Okay.
They work a 4-hour shift. They donate their funds or they collect them for the uniforms or whatever they're doing. We've got over 600 volunteer shifts in addition to about 150 employees.
And now you got to have one or two people that are there to ensure that the quality of the cream puff is the cream puff.
Hey, I'm first in line.
Okay, I was going to say,
yeah.
you and Brandon are probably over there with a stick or something, making sure that the creaminess is just right or something.
Oh yeah,
like that,
you got to taste it. I say, okay, I'm just going to take a bite, and it's gone. I eat the whole thing. I can't help it.
Tim, great to meet you. Thanks so much. You live down the street from me, I found out, which is absolutely awesome out there in the Brookfield, Waukesha area. Get back at it, and we love the cream puffs. But if you're coming out, tell Tim you want some brownies, and you heard about it here on the program. Thanks so much, man.
All right, thank you.
Coming up next hour, Mike Clemens up in Green Bay. It's family night for the Packers. We'll talk more about that coming up right after this. Welcome. Glad to have you. The Bill Michaels Show. We pick it up. Final hour of the program, but oh, what an hour it is. We're not done. Broadcasting live at the Wisconsin State Fair. And I'm going to post it shortly as the award-winning brownies are back. You could open the box and just smell the dark chocolate. Oh, my God. Just fantastic stuff. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends over there at J&L Tire Service. Say hi to Lyle and his entire staff. J&L Tire, not only did they supply us with the trailer to take to Sturgis and make sure that it's 100% safe, top-notch, ready to go, but also they do so much in their community. They're such good people, philanthropists, and they don't make just money for themselves. They make money to give back to the community. That's the kind of place they are. So right off of 94 in Johnson Creek, if you're an over-the-road trucker, they can help you. If you're a soccer mom in a minivan, they can help you. Oil changes to major trailer repair for tractor trailers, they can do it. Stop in. That's J&L Tire. Go to jandltire.com. That's jandltire.com. You got music rocking in the background. In the meantime, up in Green Bay, they have got a lot of excitement getting ready for family night. And Mike Clemens, our own Mike Clemens, been there throughout camp. Brought to you by the friends at the Bay Motel Green Bay. Bay Motel Green Bay, quiet, clean, cozy, comfortable. Love it. Love it there. They got the Bay Family Restaurant, serving meals 365 days. They're doing it all the time up there, and they're good people. Go to baymotelgreenbay.com. That is baymotelgreenbay.com, and check it out for yourself. Mike Clemens loves that place. Mike, how you doing, pal?
I'm good. I'm sorry I couldn't be with you at State Fair because we've got family night coming up here just about 4 or 5 hours, and that's going to be an important practice. But I love your tradition at State Fair every year, and I love going there to get the cream puffs and, the brats and Italian sausage and the corn on the cob. But you converted me last time I was down there with you on the show on the State Fair brownies. They are pretty outstanding.
They're fantastic. I just love them. Just absolutely love them. So, going from brownies and things that are delectable to the family night affair, Mike, we can start in many different areas. When you talk about the offensive line, we were talking with Paul Allen about this yesterday. Their offensive line is a little bit in flux. The Packers line is a little bit in flux. Tell me about how things are going right now.
Well, and I'm hearing some music in the background, Connor, so if there's something you could do there, I appreciate that. This is a camp where there's free agents that are trying to make it on the team, and there's guys that have actually been draft picks, and one is Jake Hansen. He was drafted a couple of years ago in 2020 in the 6th round out of Oregon. Now, he was the center for Justin Herbert, who's now the star quarterback for the Chargers. And Jake, had an injury that first year. Last year, he got into some snaps in the practice squad. And so now you find him with Lucas Patrick moving on to the Chicago Bears. He's not only playing at right guard with the first team with Aaron Rodgers, but then when Jordan Love comes out there, he's got to go to another 10 or 20 snaps at center. So he's sort of playing both these roles, but he's getting a real good look at a possible starting job in the offensive line. So here's Jake Hansen.
It was huge. I mean, being able to get reps, against guys like Kenny and Dean and our edge rushers. I mean, there's so many guys on that defense that are, top notch. So just being able to, get those live reps against, some of the best in the business, and because I wasn't getting them in games, so just being able to get quality competition and continue to get better in practice over the course of the whole season, even when I wasn't seeing reps on the field on game day, was huge.
You're getting your reps now because I see you with competing for that right guard position, and then the first team goes, and the next thing you know, it's Jake over the ball with the second team and getting all those reps. But with Lucas Patrick gone now in Chicago, that backup center job is wide open if you're sitting at right guard.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, any opportunity I can get, I'm eager for it. So if I can be obviously I want to start. I want to be out there. I'm doing everything I can to, be on the field in the starting lineup if my number is called.
Now, Mike, the offense has had its ups and downs. Obviously, the defense is coming in just loaded on paper. And in the meantime, the offense, the wide receivers, the offensive line, they're trying to figure themselves out. So I guess the next question really is, Mike, how has this offensive unit looked overall?
Not good. The defense is winning most of these battles. For example, you'll see Aaron Rodgers driving down in the red zone, clock the ball, and then he comes back up and he tries to throw a pass over the middle to Josiah DeGuara, the tight end, and Adrian Amos picks it off. Or you'll see like a week ago, Jordan Love make a big play and hit Romeo Dobbs at wide receiver, who's been, the splash player of the camp so far as the rookie wide receiver out of Nevada. But then on the next snap, you see Jordan Love, have a fumble on the quarterback center exchange. But my concern is I started seeing this, Bill, during the OTAs and the mini camp, and now that we're into training camp, everyone's going to talk about what are they going to do without Devontae Adams and, and these young wide receivers and blah, blah, blah. And I'm saying, look, I'm looking at Randall Cobb and Alan Lazard and Sammy Watkins. There's some veterans right there. And then this Dobbs kid is looking good, and eventually you'll get Christian Watson in there. You got serious problems on the offensive line. And when you think about how Brian Gutekunst set up not only the new coach, Matt LaFleur, but Aaron Rodgers with a line like Bakhtiari, Elton Jenkins, replacing Corey Linsley with Josh Myers, who immediately was a great-looking center. Guys like Lucas Patrick, who could play right guard or back you up at center. Veterans like Dennis Kelly, who they brought in, who's no longer here. Here's guys with years of experience in the NFL. And the first day of camp, you're looking at Josh Nijman, a guy who had to fill in at left tackle. Elton Jenkins is still rehabbing his ACL. So is Bakhtiari. John Runyon did a good job last year at center. Josh Myers only got to play half the season because of his knee injuries. He only had about, 8 games or so. And then you got Royce Newman. He got some snaps in there. They're running out of guys. So a guy who jumped out at me, every year there's somebody who flashes to me. Years ago, it was Tremont Williams. A couple of years ago, I told you about Malik Taylor is going to beat out Jake Kummerow on the roster at wide receiver, and he did. And the guy who flashed to me right away was not one of these defensive backs or wide receivers. It was number 50, Zach Tom, how he was playing first right tackle, and he looked so good they put him in the left tackle, and he was taking on Rashawn Gary and doing a good job. So he's number 50 playing sometimes left tackle. Looks like he's with the first team at right tackle right now. And I asked Aaron Rodgers, how does the offense look against this Packers defense so far in camp?
I think it's kind of gone how we thought it would go. Defense, other than the first day, has been giving us some issues up front. But there's been some days where we've ran the ball really well, I think. And a lot of guys are, starting to click in and have some better practices.
On offensive line, one day you're going to get Dave back and Elton. But right now, outside of Yash, you don't have guys that have had a lot of game experience in the NFL. Is that like the youngest group that you've lined up behind?
It's definitely a young group. But Yash has played some good football. So we have a lot of confidence in him. And I think Royce, has been playing some tackle and guard for us. He's got some flexibility. And then we got to see what we have with the young guys, the guys with 2 first names. We got to see if they can, where they're going to be playing at. But I like what we've done really at center and left guard. I think I've been really consistent. When John Runyon came in, John Ryan, that's funny. I was just actually talking to Mason about John Ryan, so that came out a little slip there. But John Runyon, when he came in, he was a pro's pro. Maybe because he's been around his dad and seen what it looks like, but the game has never been too big for him. And Josh is such a big, wide body. Although he's a heavy sweater, and so indoors in a day like today in a walkthrough, we had to get him multiple towels. But remind me of Evan Dietrich Smith a little bit. But I like how those guys are playing, and really the other spots are up for grabs until Dave and Elton get back.
Speaking of up for grabs, Mike, obviously your quarterback is settled, but the biggest question I think coming into this camp was, will Aaron Rodgers be back next year? Will the Packers feel comfortable if he's not? Do they move on? Is Jordan Love the real deal? Can he take over? I mean, there's a lot of questions, not just around the offensive line, but really I think we got to get a good look at Jordan Love for decisions to be made.
Very true. The first thing that impresses you about Jordan Love is just his command, the way he's carrying himself today in the locker room, talking to us reporters, talking football. Also, our access is better than it was the last 2 years because of the protocols and COVID. So, Jordan is making better throws, making better decisions. And here's the thing, Goody needs to see this kid get a lot of good snaps in these 3 preseason games to start thinking about what's going to happen next year. Or, God forbid if Rodgers goes down. And getting back to this offensive line thing, there used to be an axiom that said, you want to see a guy get about 40 or 50 games in his career before what you really know what you got at an offensive lineman. And right now, the way I project things, between where Bakhtiari and Jenkins are, when you play the Vikings, a divisional rival, and Zadarius Smith over there on the other side of the line now, up in Minnesota, you'd have to put together the whole 5 guys on the offensive line to get 50 starts in the NFL. That's the difference. So I talked to Jordan Love because he's got to face the 49ers next week in the first preseason game. And I said, would you like to see that LaFleur is sort of decided on a first-team offensive line? So maybe you get some reps with those guys in next week, Tuesday and Wednesday, before you get on the plane and go to San Francisco?
Yeah, for sure. I don't know who that group would be that's going to play. I don't know even how the reps will shake out and who will be in for, first, second, third quarter, how it changes up. But, yeah, I think it's good right now to kind of mix up who's in just to get a feel because you'll never know. That's how it is in preseason games. Like one group could be out there and the next group could be out there the next play. So you just got to get a feel with everybody.
So, Mike, I know Jordan Love has looked better in this camp, as you had mentioned, and the question is going to be, can he do everything that's asked of him? Because I think really they're really hoping he performs extremely well and much, much better than what we've seen out of him in the past going into these preseason games. And he's got a lot of things that he's got to deal with, too, because he's got to work under the same offensive line that Aaron Rodgers does and the fact that they don't have steady tackles right now, and he's got to move and be on the run.
Yeah, and, Jordan can make some nice splash plays. With, the legs, the youth, the speed to roll out, and then just chuck one downfield. And that's the way he was coming out of college. The question is, does he make the right call? Is he being smart on first and second down? Is he hitting the slant and not getting it blocked by defensive linemen? That's what you got to be looking for, at least through some of these preseason games. And But I'll tell you, he's under pressure. He's rolling out from these big guys and Quay Walker and Rashawn Gary. And then he looks downfield and he can chuck that thing 45 yards and hit Sammy Watkins, for a touchdown. And the crowd that's at the camp, they get really, they're impressed by that. So you ask Jordan Love, is throwing when you're on the run under pressure one of the toughest aspects of being a quarterback in the NFL?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Hey, you don't really get a train for things like that. I feel like practice in these situations when it does happen, and just those are the times you feel it. But in the game, it's just something that you just got to trust yourself, trust that your receiver's going to get there and make a play for you at the same time. So,
does Matt LaFleur, Mike, has Matt LaFleur given any indication? Because I know there was some discussion as to whether or not Aaron Rodgers would even play in the preseason. So, how much time is Jordan Love going to get? Do you know yet?
Well, they only got 3 quarterbacks, in camp. So I can't imagine that Rodgers is going to agree to touch the field in the preseason. He hasn't been on a preseason game, I think, since 2018. And, since the Jordy knee incident, the ACL, in a meaningless game against the Steelers in Pittsburgh. So the next thing is, I'm just trying to see if LaFleur, what is he doing to make sure that Jordan Love looks his best, gets his confidence? Can this guy move the ball? You want to put him in the best circumstance possible. And so I went to Matt with this yesterday. I said, do you need to get Jordan Love reps with what looks like a first-team offensive line next week in order to prepare for the 49ers game?
Potentially. We'll just play it by ear, though. And certainly we want all our guys to go out there and have success. But I think a lot of times as a quarterback, you're less concerned with those guys in front of you, especially in a practice situation when you're not going to get touched, hopefully, although we've had a lot of close calls. But, I don't think that – I think the center is an important part of it, obviously, just for him to hear your cadence. And so you can get that feel for when he snaps the ball, especially when I guess whether you're under center or in the gun, just the velocity, some of those guys have a little bit different. So I think that is probably more important than the other spots.
So Matt LaFleur talks about, obviously, the quarterback play. One of the other areas, Mike, that he was praising was the fact that they're going to utilize the weaponry out of the backfield. Aaron Jones and specifically A.J. Dillon. And A.J. Dillon, I think, has opened a lot of eyes, not only becoming the mayor of Door County, but also he's a guy that has become a much, much better pass catcher out of the backfield.
Yeah, A.J. Dillon's connection with fans, like he'll get on Twitter and say, hey, I'm in Eau Claire tonight. Anybody can name a good place for pizza? And, he just connects with fans. He rides the bikes. He signs the autographs. I even complimented him on what he's done. But he's also one of the positives in this camp so far is how good of a job he's doing coming out of the backfield, catching balls from Aaron Rodgers, just like what Aaron Jones has done in his career as a running back. And so you ask LaFleur about, that's a bright spot. That's a new weapon you've got to have a big guy, Quadzilla, running back A.J. Dillon, and how he's improved as a pass catcher coming out of the backfield.
First of all, I'll say about AJ is he's extremely intelligent. He's a great teammate, but you have seen him mature as a man too over these last couple of years. And I think we knew he had pretty decent hands coming out, although they didn't throw him the ball a whole bunch. But I think as a receiver out the backfield, he's exceeded all our expectations early on. And now it's just it's a great luxury to have a guy, because rarely do you see a back of his stature that has the body control that he has and the hand-eye that he has. And he's done some damage in the passing game, and whether it's catching a flat route and being able to turn up the sideline. A lot of guys, when you're that big and you're that fast, you naturally catch that and you can't help but your momentum takes you out of bounds. And he just has really good body control. And we're lucky to have him as a running back for us. And he's done a great job in pass protection as well. I think that's an area that most backs, coming into this league, they're a little bit further behind because there's less required in college, I would say, and there's less looks. So I think that's an area that he continues to improve upon, and he goes about his business the right way. And it's really cool to see when you see a guy come in, and there were obviously some high expectations for him coming out, being a second round pick and all, but he's done a hell of a job.
There you go. That's Matt LaFleur talking about running back A.J. Dillon. Mike Clemens in Green Bay. I'm Bill Michaels at the Wisconsin State Fair. Stay tuned. We got more coming up right after this.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Catch all the racing action at Road America. Camping and corporate events available as well. Go to roadamerica.com for all the information. Road America, America's national park of speed.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Talking about past things that have happened to us, different. Yeah, I think as of right now, we do have the experience in the D-line. That helps a lot just with communication, talking about past things that have happened to us, different formations, and just trying to learn from each day. But it's good for us because we're seeing different guys up front. We're not seeing the same old lineman every single day. So it's good work for us to see different guys and different body types across from center, guard to tackle. And it's been really, really productive so far.
Welcome back to the program. Those are the words of Dean Lowry with Kenny Clark and TJ Slayton, talking about all those guys, working with them a little bit as we're welcoming you back to the Wisconsin State Fair. Mike Clemens is up in Green Bay. Family night tonight for the Green Bay Packers. Here you got a lot of good food, a lot of good music. We are going to be on our way to Sturgis, South Dakota, but tonight all eyes are on Lambeau Field, and obviously, Mike, that defensive line's been bolstered not only by draft choices, but then they pick up Jerron Reed, and I thought that was a really solid pickup.
Yeah, I mean, the defensive line, what we just talked about in the last segment, the inexperience of offensive line right now. Packers defensive line with Kenny Clark, TJ Slayton, big kid coming back from last year. Jonathan Ford out of Miami, one of the rookies that they drafted. He is huge. Dean Lowry. Dean missed some of the mini camp and OTAs, and I asked him what happened there, and he just said it was a leg strain, but he's looked fine in camp and competing. And then Jerron Reed, who spent 5 years with the Seattle Seahawks toward the tail end of the Legion of Boom defense, and then he went to the Kansas City Chiefs. 1 year, one and done with Andy Reid. I tried to talk to him about that, and he didn't want to go there. Because I thought the next thing is that, hey, gee, you got to play in one of the greatest games of all time between the Bills and the Chiefs in that playoff game that went in overtime. He didn't want to talk at all about Kansas City. Jerron is kind of short and to the point. I think a guy who kind of feels like he's competing for a job in Green Bay. He doesn't want to take anything for granted, but a veteran. And so I asked him what was his first impressions of being here with the Packers, their defense, and under defensive coordinator Joe Barry.
He's very passionate, man. I like Coach Barry. He's a great coach, and I like playing for him. Very aggressive. We fast, physical. We close. Everybody congratulates each other, making plays. It was just fun being on the defense. I really like it. So, I just like to polish up my game. Always the first day, it's going to be some nicks here and there that you got to come back and correct for the next day. You come out the next day and try to isolate those things that you work on and just try to perfect them.
So, Mike, now the next guy from the day he was drafted has kind of made me out to be a liar, and I completely accept that. Rashawn Gary has gotten bigger and better and faster each and every year that he's played. Last year coming off a spectacular season and looking to expound upon it yet again, and I'm just hoping the trend continues where he gets even better this season.
I don't think you're all wrong about that, and some of the injury history he had when he was playing at Michigan. But he's transformed the body, Bill, from kind of a big kid, like more of a in-the-ground defensive end, maybe even a defensive tackle, to a mean, lean, extremely fast. And, they said even when he was coming out of college, though, that for a big guy that he had great speed, and sometimes why he didn't have as many sacks and, lost behind the line of scrimmage, was because the guy was often double, sometimes triple teamed in college. But, heading into year 4, he's a stud, no question. And with Za'Darius out of the room, he is definitely taking on this leadership role. Now, I was talking about how Zach Thomas, the rookie out of Wake Forest, has been looking at tackle, number 50. He's a little undersized, but His footwork is tremendous. It kind of reminds me when Bakhtiari first got into Green Bay. You know, you'd like him. You wish you could take Yosh Nijman and merge him with this rookie, Zach Tom, with his feet, and you'd have one hell of a left tackle right there to back up or replace Bakhtiari. So he was given fits to Rashawn Gary, to where a couple of times I saw Rashawn tap the rookie on the helmet like, hey, that's good job, kid. That looked pretty good. So when I went to Rashawn, this is my raw tape. I was trying to catch him just before he's off to a meeting, and it was going to be a short thing, but I had a tense moment with him because I said to Rashawn, did that rookie get the better part of you today? Here's how that sounded.
Check 1, 2, 3. Rashawn, can I ask you 2? 50 at left tackle yesterday. That kid looked like he's got pretty good footwork. Gave you a good workout yesterday? Zach Tom at left tackle?
Gave me a good workout.
I'm just asking.
You tell me. I don't think so.
You got the better end of it?
You tell me.
Well, I'll tell you. Are you leaner? Because you look quicker. You look quicker than ever around the corner.
I'm around 270 right now, but less body fat than what I was a year before. Yeah, I feel quick, explosive, fast. Like, I'm feeling good right now.
Is it anticipation too?
It's just, going in the year 4 and, as a team, we got aspirations of going to the NFC Championship, winning it, and, going to the Super Bowl and winning. I just want to be a big part of that. So I'm just hungry to make sure I'm an impact for this team.
I just thought the rookie up against you looked like he had a pretty good day with his footwork and his hands.
Oh, yeah, he's a 50. He's a great athlete. Great athlete. He's very patient in his set, and he's going to be good for us.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
There you go. Let's do this. We'll step away. Mike Clemens doing all the yeoman's work up in Lambeau Field and inside the Ray Nitschke Center and the Media Center, getting everything for us as we get up to a family night tonight. In the meantime, I'm broadcasting live at the Wisconsin State Fair out here at the Budweiser Pavilion. And if you're going to do anything this week, next week, this weekend, whatever it happens to be, stop by because they got a lot of great entertainment, a lot of good food. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at the Sunset Grill in Pewaukee. Sunset Grill has a lot going on out there, too, with some music out on the deck, beautiful sunsets to look at, great food, and even better staff. Stop by Sunset Grill in Pewaukee. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show is next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Go to Robert's Specialty Meats, Waukesha.com. I stopped out there the other day. We got burgers. We got Al Capone's. Taking a bunch of stuff out to Sturgis, South Dakota to feast on a family of bikers that are going to be out there. But thanks to Paul Roberts and his staff at Robert's Specialty Meats, Waukesha. I highly encourage you to head down in that direction. Mike Clemens up in Green Bay joining us on the hotline. And Mike, so, you know, obviously with this right now on the cusp of family night, and you start talking about, you know, the wide receivers, the core of guys that Aaron Rodgers has to throw to. And, you know, Christian Watson's been down. Sammy Watkins has had his bumps and bruises. It hasn't been a smooth camp for targets.
No, Sammy Watkins is a guy that Aaron Rodgers is going to be depending on. He's the veteran wide receiver they brought in to try and fill that gap. Julio Jones ended up going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as it turned out. I think they wanted Sammy because they've got experience with him. His receivers coach, Jason Vrabel, was with the Bills when they drafted him there. LaFleur spent a year with him when LaFleur was an assistant to Sean McVay with the Rams. So this is my take on Sammy Watkins so far. He's a pro. I mean, he's got great hands. He runs great routes. He seems to be on page with the playbook. But he has had so many injuries. He's a quiet, humble guy who's a little bit nervous. And yesterday was a great time, Bill, in the locker room because it was sort of the end of the work week, and tonight is going to feel like a game. So it's kind of like a lounge in the locker room yesterday. Guys kind of hanging out. So there's Sammy opening up a box of shoes, and it's a new pair of cleats. So he's walking back and forth with them. You know, like when you're at the shoe store, you're trying to see if it feels on the heel or across the the foot. And I said, my dad sold shoes for most of his life. I feel like I'm at the shoe store here. And he let me sit down next to him. I sat in Randall Cobb's locker, and he pulled out the shoe, and he said, well, here's what I'm looking for. And he gave me a detailed explanation of what he needs in a grass cleat for tonight and the way it makes his feet and when he makes his cuts. So he's very detail-oriented. But I'll tell you, this guy got on a plane, flew for 4 hours to Green Bay, Then he had to do his physical and his conditioning test the next day. Then he ran some routes the day after that, and he felt this little tweak, and he thought, "Oh my God, I've screwed up. I've got a hamstring injury." And so they put an MRI on it and thought, "No, you're okay. You didn't." But I mean, he's tentative. It's both in his personality. He doesn't want to get ahead. You think that coming out of Clemson, he's one of these prima donna receivers, and he is not. And it's interesting. But, those 3 years with the Bills and the 1 year with the Rams and then with the Chiefs where he got the Super Bowl, made a key play, but then numerous injuries. In the Ravens, he was one and done there. At 29, he's a really nice guy, a nice addition to that locker room. And so I said, you guys are really getting along. It's a kumbaya camp so far. What do you think about being in Green Bay so far, Sammy Watkins?
Early in my career when I was at Buffalo or in college when the fans was out there waiting for me, and it just brings back that passion, the realness of why I play this game, and then just the environment that we're in, man. We get to go out here and it's a play area where we freaking shoot basketball, play ping pong, watch TVs. You got guys that go in the restroom and chill and relax. And I think that's why we play ball. I think, one, we play on Sundays to, score touchdowns and be entertainers, but it doesn't get much better in having a conversation. Rome talking to a friend. I'm talking to Kabi. Going to meeting rooms, talking to Vade. Us all having jokes and talking about what happened 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and us talking about other experience on other teams and how other organizations is. I think that's what football is. And like I seen Jordan Nelson out there today, and I'm pretty sure Kabi hit him up like, "Hey, come out here."
Yeah.
You can't find many relationships like that.
It's interesting, Mike, when you talk about teams. I always go back to Aaron Rodgers and his comments to me years ago when I said, what does it take to be, a team that's going to succeed? And he said, you got to be close. He said, guys are individual personalities, but when you get here, you got to be close. And we feel like we can be a close unit and a close group. And it certainly sounds like Watkins is feeling that already. And then there's the veterans that already know what that atmosphere is like, what that culture is like.
Now, Bill, I saw this interview with Mike Tomlin, the head coach of the Steelers, and they go to that St. Vincent's University, away from Heinz Field and the new field that they've got from their regular season facility. They go off to the college, and they put the guys up in the dorm. COVID changed the protocols, and they haven't done that. But after 2 years, Mike Tomlin, who's a great leader as a head coach, behind Belichick, he's the longest tenured coach in the NFL right now. And he wanted to take his guys back to the college. Now, St. Norbert is a place where Lombardi 60 years ago said, I want these guys to be on this campus. I want them to be in the dorms together to bond. It's important for that bonding during training camp. But the Packers aren't right. This summer, St. Norbert is doing renovations. But I don't know if they're going to change. I think they like the system where the veterans get to go home, and the new guys or the rookies that don't have a place in town, they stay in the team hotel. And the difference is because they have built up Lambeau Field and their facilities so much that they've got a lounge. They've got a basketball court. They hang out here from 6:30 in the morning in the weight room till 7 o'clock at night and they get fed there. So by the time it's 7 or 8 o'clock, it's time to just go home, go to your bed. And so there's plenty of bonding time in the facility that they've improved so much. And they got that big hole that they're digging now for underground parking for the players. So I went over to Kenny Clark, who was just hanging out, and I had this great conversation with Kenny about what Sammy just said about what's making the difference and how the team is coming together.
So I talked to Sammy Watkins. Here's a guy that's been on a half a dozen teams, and he says, what's making the difference is you guys. Mm-hmm. And asking what's going on. He goes, I have not seen that in the other places I've been.
Yeah, the culture that we're building here is just brotherhood. This is one of the closer, again, another one of the closer teams that I've ever been a part of. That's a brotherhood, because when stuff does get tough, like it does every season, like we need to be able to lean on each other and depend on each other. When stuff gets tough, competing about something, arguing, laughing, joking around. It's always just good vibes out here, like in here in the locker room. And that's just the culture that Coach LaFleur is instilling in us. Outside the building, not just inside the building, outside the building. Guys come over, we hang out, play the game together. I mean, off days we're with each other. Like it's really not a day that we probably really don't even see each other. So being a part of teams where you come in the locker room and like you really don't really talk to the guy, next to you, or you really don't talk to the guy around. I mean, that you're around every day. But like nowadays, I feel like I'm comfortable to talk to anybody in this locker room.
So, Mike, when you get guys that feel good, that's one thing. When you get that camaraderie with a coach, that's another. And one of the moves that the Packers made was to appease one of the guys, and that was to bring Tom Clemens back and be with Aaron Rodgers. And it certainly seems like, at least on the short term, that relationship is working.
Yeah, they lost Nathaniel Hackett, the head coach of Broncos. He's a really sharp guy. They lost Luke Getsy to offensive coordinator of the Chicago Bears. And I've heard a lot of good things about how good Getsy is and maybe how bright his future is. So, and there's other things that they're doing family-wise. That end zone down there by McCarthy Way on the practice field, LaFleur has set up a tent there now. As they come back out of COVID, where the families and their kids can watch practice. So it's much more family-oriented. And these are things that they do at other teams that LaFleur's been around the league. And I just think he feels that he's kind of got that equity now so he can make some of those cultural changes and listen to the needs of the players. And then when he needs a new quarterback coach, Aaron Rodgers comes to him and says, hey, listen, Tom Clemens hasn't been here since 2016. He kind of left in a huff, between him and McCarthy. Because maybe he was calling plays for a while, and then McCarthy took back over the playing card and all that. But Rodgers talked about what it's been like having Tom Clements back in the house as the quarterback coach after he left the team back in 2016.
It's different for me because I haven't been coached like that since he was here, but I love it. I really do. Tom just understands the little things in the position, and so every drill is working on one specific thing. And it's really how I was able to polish my fundamentals and learn how to throw in rhythm and throw on time and not, make premeditated decisions, one of the quarterback mortal sins. And so we're having a lot of fun. Just this morning, we talked about an adjustment in the red zone on a certain play, and he goes, yeah, remember you hit driver? And I was like, finish the sentence, 2008 at Tennessee. And so that's kind of the fun part of having Tom back. Tom loves the game. He loves being back in it. And for me to have him back in a room, and I've had some great ones over the years. But Tom will always have a special place in my heart because he was the master when I was the young student. And it's great having him back.
Mike, the next question I have, it's great to have him back for Aaron Rodgers. But will he, is he helping in any kind of dramatic fashion Jordan Love?
Yeah, I think so. And I'll tell you, Aaron Rodgers he's having fun this camp, man. He showed up doing the Nick Cage Con Air thing. I asked him about that. He says, don't take life so seriously. He's in the golf cart with Bakhtiari yesterday, and outside the loading dock there was a couple of feathers. So he picks one up and sticks it in his helmet and wears it for the whole practice, a feather sticking out of his helmet. And he's over there saying hi to Jordy Nelson, who's in town to stay with Randall Cobb and his family. And listen to Rodgers talking about, looking out for Jordan Love, because he was asked, do you think Tom Clements, an old crusty guy at 69 years old, can really help out, the future quarterback Jordan Love?
I think so. I really do. I mentioned that to Matt, after the season, that if Getz got a job and you want to bring in somebody to teach fundamentals the right way every single day, then Tom is the guy. I remember Matt called me after he met with Tom, and he was like, basically saying what we always say about Tom. And what a great guy. Such an interesting dude, crazy life. Wife is, interior decorated to the stars, and he's a, Canadian Football Hall of Famer, turned lawyer, turned whatever the hell he's doing, but he's such an interesting guy. He's like the most interesting man in the world. But so I think when they met, it was a no-brainer. And just to watch, again, the attentiveness to the fundamentals, I think is really going to help, Jordan and Danny out, because if you want to be accurate in this league, you got to throw the ball in rhythm and on balance. And I think for the first time, there's the right amount of emphasis on those fundamentals.
There you go. Let's do this. We got another segment yet to go. We are broadcasting live at the Wisconsin State Fair inside the Budweiser Pavilion. Mike Clemens is in Green Bay. I'm here at the State Fair, and we got one more left. Hang in there. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket, this is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
I give that a 2.99.
Okay.
Hey, Dad.
What's wrong?
That woman over there. Don't look.
What did she do?
She judged my dive. Gave it a 2.99. Isn't that weird?
Hey, that's Gina Della from Pella. I'm going to find out what this is all about. Excuse me. Why are you judging my daughter's diving? I know who you are.
I'm sorry? Judging?
Yeah, she said you yelled out.
Oh, no, I wasn't talking about her. I was finalizing this month's special at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. That's funny.
What's special?
Pay only 2.99% interest for 10 years.
On new Pella windows. Really? 10 years?
Yep.
But it's the middle of summer. You can't get a deal on installing new windows during the warmest season.
You can at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Oh, 2.99.
Dad?
Oh, not you, sweetheart. The deal at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. 2.99% for 10 years.
Visit PellaWI.com.
Approved credit.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
that a touchdown or not? I thought he was tackled. Did he fumble or did they get a touchdown? It is a touchdown for Leroy Butler. Holy cow, on the fumble recovery. And the Packers go up 20-0.
Mike Holmgren.
My old partner, Leroy Butler, well, he's a leader, obviously. Aside from being a great football player, a very talented man, he was a leader. And I don't think, he didn't strike me as a tremendously vocal guy running around doing everything, but he was a leader when he had to be vocally. And then also his example on the field. Yeah, I'm sure he had bumps and bruises just like everyone else, but he's a tough guy. And then, of course, when he jumped into the stands that first time, that kind of set the tone for years and years and years to come.
Ron Wolf.
I always said, my time up there, I felt that we had four guys that were unanimous picks for the Hall of Fame. Sterling Sharp, Reggie White, Brett Favre, and Leroy Butler.
Charles Woodson.
Leroy, man, when you look at Leroy's career and what he's done, and then you just compare it, it opened your eyes. I mean, I think Leroy is definitely deserving.
Aaron Rodgers.
I was so excited. I saw him at the honors, and just to see that look in his eye was really, really special. I've known him for a number of years now. That's the beauty of being a Packer. You're always kind of around some of the older guys. He was a top 3 player at his position for an extended period of time. It's probably long overdue, but I'm really excited that he's finally going in the Hall of Fame.
Big weekend coming up in Canton, Ohio. Leroy Butler going to leap his way into the Hall of Fame. I'm Bill Michaels. We are broadcasting live here at the Wisconsin State Fair in the Budweiser Pavilion, and thanks to the staff and management here, they have treated us fantastic as always. I can't praise them enough. In the meantime, up in Green Bay, Mike Clemens standing by. Brought to you by our friends at the Bay Motel Green Bay. Bay Motel, quiet, cozy, comfortable, a terrific place. Go to baymotelgreenbay.com. That is baymotelgreenbay.com. So, Mike, you and I both know Leroy, and this is kind of a long time coming, man.
Nearly 1,000 tackles, 38 interceptions, 20 sacks. The dude played safety, 20 quarterback sacks, 13 forced fumbles, an inventor of the Lambeau Leap, and a character who was a leader on that team, in a team that had so many big personalities between Favre, Reggie White, and all the others, and a coach like Holmgren, and so he kind of pulled all those egos together. That's what was unique about Leroy, is that he could get those guys that were in different sections of the locker room and pull them together, and that's why they had such sustained winning years, year after year under Leroy. So we're very excited for him to finally get inducted, and he'll have his wife Genesis and his buddy Gilbert Brown, the gravedigger, the nose tackle, presenting him tomorrow night in Canton.
Mike, I told the story briefly earlier today about you and I. We're in New York. There's Leroy. He comes over, he sits down, starts talking to us, and then in walks Ronnie Lott, who did this amazing dissertation on how he respected, loved Leroy's game and everything he brought to the game and everything he did on the field, and how he talked about what a travesty it was that Leroy was not in the Hall of Fame. And I every time I think about Leroy Butler and whether or not he belongs, and you can talk whether he does or he doesn't, which I think most believe he does, that always stuck out to me, that you had another guy that's a Hall of Famer saying, this guy belongs. He needs to be here.
Well, and Ronnie Lott, for anybody growing up in the 90s and the early 2000s, they watched him with those 49ers teams in Joe Montana. He was tough. And so for Ronnie to say that on your show, he also recognized how tough and always available Leroy Butler was. We talked about the Iron Man and Brett Favre, but Leroy Butler answered the bell week after week after week. And I just wanted to make sure that we did that too, Bill, because these are all these guys that have been on your show. Those are all clips from interviews on the Bill Michaels Show, from Holmgren and Ron Wolf and Woodson, all those guys. And they've been saying for years, 36 has got to get into the Hall of Fame.
Mike, it's great stuff. Enjoy family night. I will talk to you next week out in South Dakota. And then we'll all reconvene very shortly. We'll start talking more Packers football and more of what's going on in our lives, because God knows we're all over the place. Mike, pleasure as always, buddy.
Safe travels to Sturgis, Billy.
All right, buddy. Talk to you soon. There you go, Mike Clemens. Again, my thanks to everybody involved in the program. My thanks to everybody involved here at the Wisconsin State Fair, not to mention our friends in the Budweiser Pavilion. Always great to get a chance to talk to everybody here and enjoy a couple of days at the Wisconsin State Fair. It is time for us to get out of here.